for an official Rob Brown Lockdown. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Rob only. The fan of state.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
You know, at some point, I'm just going to yelling the second that deep voice announcer guy stops his intro. That's just going to have to happen.
Which is, I mean, you've only got 8 seconds to impress and you're just sitting over there. So, I mean, I'm just trying to put something on the air,
Trying
man.
to impress the people.
I am. I'm letting them know what time of day it is and to get up and let's get going.
Yeah, get up. Let's get going. Get up, people. I was gonna do my hype man thing.
You were going to do James Brown, then you realized that you
Get up. Get on up. Get up. Get on up. James, we need more James Brown in our lives, I think. The world needs. As a musician.
Much like Ray, he's dead. So, I mean, you know.
I mean, the art lives on. Get up. Get on up. Hell.
Yeah, please don't do that last thing.
I'm just gonna leave it at the first part, I think.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, my dudes and my dudettes? It is wonderful to have you this morning. And what today we've got lined up for you. A lot to get to, a lot to talk about on the radio program today. Some NBA Finals discussion coming up at 9 a.m. when Hating Ass Mario joins us to talk. We will go heavy on the NBA Finals discussion today. We've got a very special 8 o'clock hour lined up for you today. We'll do our regular sports and sports adjacent activities at 8 a.m. And then at 8:20, we'll be joined by Will Pelagic. Will, of course, is the voice of Charlotte FC. They got it done against the ATL, Atlanta United, last weekend. At 8:20, we'll talk Charlotte FC along with Willie P, Big Willie style, Will Pelagic. And then at 8:40, Willie P is going to stick around for a little while. We're going to keep the voice of CFC because he doesn't only just talk about Charlotte FC. He also talks about that other ball club up there in Charlotte, North Carolina. That, of course, would be your Carolina Panthers.
Let's go. We're going to go.
Let's go if we going to go.
That'll be great, man.
Willie P, Will Pelagic, going to be joining us for about 40 minutes of sports talk excellence coming up between 8:20 and the 9 o'clock hour. Then at 9 o'clock, as mentioned, Hating Ass Mario going to join us on the show to talk a little NBA Finals as we get them underway coming up tomorrow evening. So we will do an in-depth breakdown on the show today. And then tomorrow we'll make our picks, predictions, projections, and prognostications about your NFL or your NBA Finals, pardon me, Will, the great one, and I. Speaking of the National Football League, a lot of news and notes out of the NFL. Have you guys heard of? You may or may not. He's had some moments. Have you guys heard of? I'm blanking on his name. Come on, radio guy. Christian McCaffrey. Have you heard of this fella? Woo! Have you heard of this guy, Christian McCaffrey? There are some folks. I heard Christian McCaffrey. I heard a wonderfully talented radio host one time use a nickname I love for this guy, Run CMC.
Nope.
I heard a wonderfully gifted radio man refer to him not terribly long ago as Run CMC, and I was like, that's a great name, dude.
Nope.
That is a stellar name.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
For a guy with the initials CMC, because it's like Run DMC, the old hip hop group from back in the day. But since he's Christian McCaffrey, it's CM. So it's like Run DMC, but it used his initial CMC. So Run CMC.
Nope.
It's a great nickname.
Nope.
I'm gonna say hi to Lonzo before he burns his sound card out on that computer over there. What's up, great one? Are you getting paid CMC money for this?
No, I'm not.
Burn it down! Burn it down!
Well, you don't have to go that far. You could just go ask for
Well,
a
you
raise.
said burn, and I had just put that in, and then I lost it that quick. I probably should paint that thing red. I think I will. Good morning, Rob.
Thank you, Lonzo. Good morning to you as well. It's
Burn
so
it
wonderful.
down! Burn it down!
As wonderful to see you as always.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
We got a show lined up.
Really?
I don't know.
Really?
I needed to push something.
I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, you lose weight, and I need to, and then you're gonna do that. I mean, it hurt. It really did.
What's how you guys say it politely? I want to take a tinkle.
Yeah, I don't
want to
know
take
how
a
that
tinkle and
applies.
came back. That's polite, right? Tinkle,
It doesn't.
want to
I
take a
just
tinkle,
needed
come
to
back.
push a button, and I very much picked the wrong button. All right, it was a bad spot for that one.
I'm not going to play with it anymore.
Yeah, stop it.
There it is. Call it even. We got a day. We got a lot of stuff to get into. I will open with this. I'm curious as to y'all's thoughts on this. I'm sure that this will lead to a very measured discussion, a very composed discussion here on the radio broadcast today. Yesterday, the state of Florida, my home state, where I came from, where I was raised up, y'all. Yesterday, the state of Florida, great one, became the 31st state in this great union of ours. The 31st state in the union to allow, I think is the word I'm going to use here, to allow athletes in high school to be eligible for name, image, and likeness compensation.
Nope.
Like it didn't happen or it shouldn't happen.
Next thing you know, you go down to rec league, NIL at rec league. There we go. I know my dude is 8.5 years old, but he already got a deal with Fisher Price.
So there's a cat. I'm glad you said that because you've introduced an element to the conversation that I honestly did not think of until right this very second. There is a dude on Instagram. And when I say dude, I use the term dude very, very, very lightly because this dude isn't really a dude yet. But there is a dude right now.
So there's surgery involved, or is it just really young?
He's very young.
Okay, all right. I mean, you were leading us down a trail. I just didn't know which direction
That's fair.
we
It's
were
fair.
going.
It's not unfair. There is a kid. Is that better? I think it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The
There is-
narrative now is being written. Yes, thank you.
There is a kid on the gram who has been affectionately referred to as Baby Gronk. Have you heard of Baby Gronk yet? Baby Gronk is a cat on Instagram. Now, his account is being run by his parents. And we can have a whole separate conversation and discussion about whether or not that is appropriate. Well, let me tell you what he's doing first before we label what that is and get into that follow-up discussion about that. But this cat goes by the handle Baby Gronk. His handle on Instagram is Madden San Miguel, but he's been referred to as Baby Gronk. Baby Gronk he's a kid. I'm going to ballpark this kid at somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, 11 years old. Baby Gronk on the gram right now, great one, has 520,000 followers on his Instagram account as it stands right now. 520,000. He also has a YouTube channel. Baby Gronk's YouTube channel, also run by his parents, has 320,000 subscribers to it. If you are curious.
He's 10, by the way.
Okay, there you
He
go.
also
I was close.
has his own Wikipedia page.
He does. He does. I just looked up his YouTube channel because I was curious. The last video that was posted on Baby Gronk's YouTube channel, which has, again, 320,000 followers attached to it, is a video labeled Baby Gronk versus Baddies. Do you know what a baddie is? You heard this expression, baddie, B-A-D-D-I-E. Do you know what a baddie is?
I know a certain wrestler who's now with WWE had her baddies.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. A baddie is a, let's say, attractive lady who got a bit of an attitude. She got a bad tude. She got a rude tude, dude. A baddie is an attractive lady. And sure, as the day is long, this video is 10-year-old Baby Gronk getting out onto a football field and running through football drills with three, I will go ahead and say, very attractive, let's say mid-20s, young to mid-20s ladies in workout gear. We're going to loosely call it workout gear.
So his mom, his sister, and his cousin.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. And if it was his mom and sister and cousin, and this is, and again, I am not outfit shaming, ladies. As I have said in years gone by, I think whoever it was that convinced women that yoga pants are workout, regular, everyday pants should get a Nobel Peace Prize. But no, if this was mom, sister, and cousin who showed up to work out with Baby Gronk, rocking the derriere enhancers, then shame on them. But they're not. It's just three smoking hot baddies that came out to work out with Baby Gronk. The point here is Baby Gronk has built a brand. Baby Gronk is being flown around the country to go to different colleges, to go on not like official recruiting visits, but there are pictures of him hanging out with world famous rappers. There are pictures of him hanging out with NBA players. There are pictures of him hanging out with celebrities. There are pictures and videos of him hanging out on college campuses, working out with pro athletes. There is a video of him from not too terribly long ago when he went to go visit LSU. Yeah. And he hung out with America's sweetheart, Olivia Dunn. There's a video, a picture from not too long ago of Baby Gronk hanging out with Ryan Garcia, noted UFC fighter. There are videos of him hanging out with Mr. Beast at a Chiefs game. The point is, my dude and or his parents, depending on how you feel about it, my dude and or his parents have built up a brand that has earned Baby Gronk 550,000+ followers, almost 1 million followers between his multiple social media platforms. And Baby Gronk has become a household name amongst the social media sphere.
Until his height peaks at 5'8".
Dude, I got to tell you.
Then it's over.
I got to tell you.
He's 10. It says he's 5'2". I don't know. Is that tall for 10? I don't think so.
I don't know. This is a weird spot for me because I find Baby Gronk frankly obnoxious. and I find all of his fans, frankly, obnoxious, this is going to be the least cool thing I say today. I find him and his whole brand obnoxious, and it's real tough.
So
it's
like,
real
like
tough. Hang on,
Gronk.
let me finish this sentence and get myself out of more troubles, though. It's real tough as an almost 40-year-old man to say that you find a 10-year-old child obnoxious, but I find most of your kids obnoxious, okay? And this kid is really setting the tone for that. Now, to be clear, it's not the kid's fault, okay? It's not his fault. But I'm real tired of reading about he's committing to Michigan. He's out there putting the Riz on Olivia Dunn. Okay, that one might be out of jealousy. I'll acknowledge it. But the point here is not really. She's married to Paul Skeens, and he would kick my ass.
And she's like 20. I mean, what are you doing?
I think she's 21. Now I have to go look and find out if I just made a real ass of myself. She is 21. I was right. So I'm not creepy. I'm not that creepy.
Yeah, her birthday was like 3 days ago.
No,
So
I was
3
back in
days
it
ago.
was been October of last year. I'm
okay.
good.
All right.
Yeah. Point here is, while I may find the baby Gronk, let's say, character obnoxious, what I do not do is hate the player who wins the game. Now, again, we can ask the question, do we kind of put this on his parents a little bit? That there's this brand, that this kid is out there with a million
bit.
social media followers?
Just a little bit? How about completely?
Let me rephrase that. His parents are the ones who have run the brand that have gotten him 1 million followers. You get to decide if that's a good or a bad thing. I will tell you this. I guarantee you the kid will never have to work a real job for a day in his life. The kid's going to be fine. Whether or not he ever plays college football down the line, the kid is going to be fine. He's got 800,000 followers. There are quite literally on his social media sites, there are quite literal commercials of him doing advertisements for companies that I guarantee you are paying him an ass load of money to get baby Gronk to talk about their company in front of his 1 million+ followers.
All right. One of the first videos that popped up for me when I was looking him up was baby Gronk gets humbled. So I mean, he's going to get the Caitlin Clark treatment when he's out on the field because of all this.
Lonzo, you have just fallen for the YouTube influencer gimmick of choice, which is every now and then you post up a video where it's like, I got humbled, I got embarrassed. Why? Because people like me who think you're obnoxious, they want to click and see you get your comeuppance. Right? It's like professional wrestling. Sometimes the bad guy gets curb stomped into the side of the ring, and we all tune in because that's the comeuppance for a bad guy that we look for. But to circle back around to the beginning of this, baby Gronk's got 1 million followers. There are very clearly companies of all sizes across the country, across the country, that are going to want to put some dollar bills, y'all, into the pocket of baby Gronk to get him to promote their good and/or service. This brand, regardless of whether or not you agree with the way that it was established, does baby Gronk, as someone who has a brand built, regardless of whomst built it or howst it was built, does baby Gronk not have a right to utilize the platform and the brand that was built either by or for him in order to make money? The answer to me is yes for him, just like it is for high school athletes and college athletes and professional athletes. So Florida says high school athletes may now make name, image, and likeness money. They are the 31st state to do so. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, more are going to follow, because what's going to happen is you're going to start having parents like baby Gronk's who are going to start taking their kids out of states where they can't make NIL money and moving them to states where they can. You're going to have to play catch up. Good, bad, ugly, and different. We'll talk more about it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. How many other hosts do you know that are brave enough to say a 10-year-old kid's obnoxious? Just me.
Okay. I bet there's some 10-year-old hosts out there who are saying he's obnoxious.
And I guess really what I should say is the brand's obnoxious, not him, because I don't know him at all. He might be a cool kid.
Maybe.
As the nation's leader in using orthobiologics to deal with joint pain, QC Kinetics has treated tens of thousands of patients.
For many of them, that treatment comes with a plan to lose weight, as we know that keeping a healthy weight puts less strain on your joints.
So now to help patients lose weight in the fastest and most effective way, QC Kinetics is excited to offer newly approved injectables.
If your weight is keeping you from living your best life, call QC Kinetics now and learn more about these next-generation weight loss options, including semaglutide and tirzepatide.
Even if you're just looking to look better and feel better by getting back to your ideal weight, call the medical professionals at QC Kinetics to see if you qualify for these revolutionary and effective treatments.
QC is making these amazing options accessible and affordable, and it starts with a free consultation.
Call 833-QCK-SLIM to get yours today. Lose the weight now and finally give your aching joints a break. Call 833-QCK-SLIM. That's 833-QCK-SLIM.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2023 is on, and voting for Miss Popular is officially live. Head over to MissTwinPeaks2024.com to learn more about the contest and cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girl.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego.
So Sunday, I had Jeremy, my drummer, come down from Charlotte, and we went to the game. And then when he was leaving, he's like, yo, I really want to grab a slice of pizza before I get on the road. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go have a slice of pizza with him. So I went and I ended up having 3 slices of pizza. And then I woke up Monday and felt like crap. And I'm terrified that I'm going to healthy eat my way out of being able to enjoy pizza.
Was it thick pizza?
Nope. It was a little more, and I'm hoping this was it. It was a little more greasy than I'm used to this pizza place, this pizza establishment serving. So I'm thinking maybe it was just that. I never wanted to be guy who pats the grease off his pizza with a napkin, you know, but I think I might have to be.
You set the napkin next to your fork.
Ah,
getting ready to eat.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what's next on Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel. Tell me what's coming up.
For calendar year 2024, will Clemson football be the weakest men's program on campus?
Diesel, I teased it on the show, and I bring up the question. Is Eric Bakich the most beloved Clemson coach right now?
And which NFL quarterbacks find themselves on the hot seat in 2024?
Diesel and Cole Bryson really bring it on Wire to Wire.
Turn it on and leave it on.
Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate. You don't need to check the clock. It's Rob Brown time now. Weekday mornings.
Rob Brown time. Rob Brown time. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. So we talked a little bit on the last segment, which is also the first segment, funny enough. Florida, the 31st state to allow high school athletes to make name, image, and likeness money. They are allowed to do so. And before I get into this, allow me to apologize to the Great One, because I did talk over him on the last segment, and I sincerely apologize for that. But I also needed to make sure that I finished my thought about calling a 10-year-old obnoxious, because I could have got real hung out to dry right there. I think what I need to say after said apology, I think what I really need to say is, I don't know that the 10-year-old is obnoxious. I don't know the 10-year-old. He might be. He might be. I've got some friends of mine that have 10-year-old kids that are absolutely obnoxious. I've also got some friends of mine that have 10-year-old kids who are awesome dudes and dudettes. And Uncle Rob Brown's a big fan. But I know some obnoxious ones. So I don't know if this kid's obnoxious or not. What I do know is, to me, the brand is obnoxious. I'm just over it. Okay? I'm just over it. However, my personal feelings on Baby Gronk, the character, Baby Gronk, the brand, are irrelevant. Right? They're irrelevant. My man has built something that, whether I like it or not, social media eats him up. Social media loves this kid. He's got over 500,000 followers on the gram. He's got over 1/3 followers on YouTube. I assume there's a Twitter account connected as well. You put all those together, and what do you got? 1 million plus viewers, 2 million plus eyeballs that are all on this guy.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to him because in my mind, he sounds like Spike from Little Giants. And so I'm just going to, for now on, picture that every time he speaks. That's what he sounds like.
That's fair. That's fair. I try to live by the philosophy, don't hate the player, hate the game. And sometimes I fail at that. You guys have heard me talk about multiple sports talk personalities that I kind of hate the player a little bit, right? And I shouldn't. I should hate the game, which is why if you've listened to this show for any length of time, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I very, very, very frequently say, hey, when one of these hot take artists offers a hot take that is so transparent, so opaque, that you can see right through it, this is only being said to rile people up. Don't respond to it, right? Don't respond to it. I have taken to the tactic on social media of addressing those hot takes, but doing so in saying that guy, that person, this awful, awful host, whatever the case might be, to try to avoid giving them more attention while still being able to address a terrible take. So I can't really say I'm good at it or perfect at it, but I do try to hate the player, hate the game. Hate the game, not the player. I do not hate Baby Gronk. I don't know Baby Gronk. Again, he might be a real cool dude, man. He might show up one day down the line, have a great high school career, turn into a dude, go to college, and be a real cool guy. Maybe he ends up being an actual Gronk. Maybe he ends up grows up and is another Gronk. And maybe, like real Gronk, because I like Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is exactly who Rob Brown would have been had Rob Brown been, what's the word I want to use here? Talented. Good at anything.
You speak way too well to be Rob Gronkowski.
You know what Rob Gronkowski can do that I can't do? Afford things. So I can't, again, not going to hate the player, going to hate the game. But it's not my bag. However, what I will say, as I have said, here's the thing. You go back to those hot take artists. I used to work with the guy, great one, that one day I went on social media. One day I went on social media and I was ripping a nationally syndicated sports talk radio show host for some takes that they had. And I got a call behind the scenes from a guy that I worked with on that station who proceeded to bust the bleep out of me behind the scenes for coming after him, for getting after him. And I said to this person, you're kind of telling on yourself a little bit, dog, because I wasn't talking about you. But the fact that you think I was tells me you know the game you're playing, right? It's how people build a brand in 2024. You can do it the way that I think I do it, which is by being just my genuine self on the radio. Am I a larger than life caricature of myself? Sure. It may shock some of you. I don't yell this much in public. I don't yell much less.
Unless he's having a good time or Chris Evans walks into the office.
That's fair. Then I do. I don't yell as much in public. I am a larger than life version of myself. What I am, though, is as guys like JD and Mike and some of these other folks I've had the pleasure of meeting in person will tell you, I'm the same dude in public that I am on the radio. It is my brand. It is the brand that I have built. Whether that brand will ever make me a millionaire or not, IDK. We'll find out. But Baby Gronk, regardless of how I feel about his brand, has built a brand that puts every post that he makes in front of 1 million plus people. And if he puts that many eyeballs on a product, does he not deserve to get paid for that if people are willing to pay him for that? Does he not deserve to get that paper if people are willing to give that paper to him for being him? To me, the answer is yes. And when he gets to high school, that won't change. And when he gets to college, that won't change. And when he gets to the pros, that won't change. Whether he goes pro as a football player or as an influencer or as a social media megastar or whatever else he does, he has built something that I'll tell you today, I hope to replicate. Oh, there's a picture of him from a while back meeting and hanging out with Taylor Swift. If you wonder what kind of level Baby Gronk's on, my man got to go hang out with your boy Travis Kelce and Tay-Tay for a couple of minutes, right? That's the level of celebrity this cat's on. So does he not deserve, when he gets to high school, to take a brand that has nothing to do with playing football? It doesn't. Now, his character is a football player for sure. But Baby Gronk is not making money to play for a high school team, is he? No, because he's not a high school kid. He's 10 years old. He's not making money to play. This is why, going back to those debates that Lonzo and I had unendingly for the past couple of years after NIL was enacted, this is why I've said players are not getting paid for football. Baby Gronk is not getting paid for playing football.
But his entire persona is based around football.
Correct. But that is not what he's getting paid for.
He is playing football. I mean, on a rec league level. I don't know.
Do you think anyone in America anywhere is giving a 10-year-old youth football player money? No. They're giving a megastar on social media money. You don't have to like that he is. I don't. But he is.
Yeah, by the way, I've seen softball coaches in rec league try to pay their players for home runs. So definitely, and I said, no, you're not doing that. My daughter was very disappointed.
I bet she was. It was
$1, but still, it's $1.
Lonzo!
Yeah, I don't care.
You fun police.
Whatever.
You fun Nazi.
Back then, the NCAA enforced things, so you don't know how far back they would look before they, if something was.
For the record, that would be prohibited. But the point here is, Baby Gronk is not making money for being a football player. He is making money for playing a character on the internet that is a football player. Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't make money in the longest yard for being a football player. He made money for representing one. This kid's doing the same. So when he gets to high school, should he not be allowed to keep doing that, even if he is also an actual football player? If he does go to college and play college football, should he not have the right to keep doing what he's already doing, even if he is actually a football player on the other side of it? Again, this all comes back to the rights of athletes to profit, to cash in on a brand that they built. By the way, there's a video up of him from not terribly long ago on campus at Columbia doing football drills with Gamecock cheerleaders. Baby Gronk's going to be a Gamecock, y'all. Yay. All right, we'll get away from this. We'll get into some other stuff when we come back. Rob Lonzo and you and the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
Thursday night, August the 8th at 7 Eastern. Then on August the 17th, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff at home against the Jets. It's the only preseason home game. They wrap up the preseason Saturday, August the 24th, a 1 o'clock kickoff at Buffalo.
Mike, what's up, big fella? Good to see you, buddy.
This drink is not cold. I don't appreciate that.
Braves radio in Tuesday's 8-3 win over the Red Sox in Boston at Fenway Park. Max Fried struck out 13. Ozzie Albies hit a 3-run homer. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash of the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. Scanning the Cordell and Cordell traffic cams through the upstate, I don't find any electric work. Except for the I-85
Ow.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
What's wrong? I probably won't earn enough miles for my vacation. Are you crying because of that other credit card? Well, switch to the Capital One Venture Card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase. Really? Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, this is Carly, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Chicken Minis is the combination of flavors. The first thing I always taste is the honey butter. It gets me going.
Are you saying that because you just got some or because you need some?
And now they're a family thing. It's the perfect breakfast bite.
Breakfast starts with Chicken Minis and simply orange juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real customer pick for the testimonial.
Everyone motorized here, from brakes to exhaust kits and beyond. eBay Motors has over 122 million parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home that kind of big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, welcome to Varian Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to have it stick
Didn't realize Andy Dalton was still with the Panthers
Local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent.
and doing like press conferences for some reason.
Text us at 71307.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate, Rob and Lonzo. Yesterday, Major League Baseball handed down its first official lifetime ban from gambling. Yesterday, Major League Baseball put a precedent out there. They handed out a lifetime ban to Tucupita Marcano, who's an infielder for the San Diego Padres. Last year, Tucupita Marcano was playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates. As a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Marcano tore his ACL, had to step away from the team in order to get his surgery, get his rehab, try to get right and make his way back to the league. And while he was away from the Pirates, Marcano was found to have placed 200 231 Major League Baseball related bets, including 25 that MLB says included wagers on Pittsburgh Pirate games while he was a member of that roster. Now, Marcano did not appear in any of those games because he was on the injured list. And Marcano said that he did not have any inside information nor impact on those games. Major League Baseball says they found nothing in their investigation to dispute that claim from Marcano. Now, in a LOL aside, Marcano bet almost exclusively on the outcomes of games. He lost every one of the parlays that included the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he won out of 231 bets, Lonzo, 4.3% of all of his Major League Baseball-related bets, which works out to be about 11 bets.
Was he a better baseball player than he was a gambler?
Well, he has not appeared so far this season, so we're going to say probably not. Not by much. I'm going to say yes because he made Major League Baseball, and that's hard to do. I am saying now, to Capita Marcano, that you can gamble openly and freely. You able to check out Bet for the Cycle from noon to 4 on the BetQL Network with Rob Brown and Cody Decker. We're actually way better than 4.3%. Just an idea. Suggestion.
Can he go to Japan and play?
I don't see why not. If Japan's league will allow him to, I'm sure that he could. I'll tell you where he can't play. Major League Baseball. The Show. Can't play in the Show no more. He is not the first athlete in American professional sports to catch the lifetime ban, because you will all remember, nay, but a couple of months ago, that the NBA handed out a lifetime ban to now former Toronto Raptor Jontay Porter. Jontay Porter was caught arguably doing the same thing but worse, because while Tucupita Marcano was betting on his own team, he wasn't with the team or playing when it happened, whereas Jontay Porter was with the Raptors when this was happening, was playing in games in which he was wagering, and while it cannot be directly proven, Jontay Porter was having some, let's say, interesting playing decisions in games he had active wagers on, like playing just long enough for his stats to become official in the stat book, but then checking out sick right after that moment, and therefore cashing all of his under props. So, when the Jontay Porter thing happened, I told you that sports as a whole were not going to play with these athletes. And they were not going to allow any leeway, because there's a lot you can do and get away with and be a professional athlete and stay active. There's a lot you can do and get away with. This is one thing they're not going to let happen, because professional sports leagues will absolutely allow you to denigrate your own image. They will absolutely allow you to denigrate your own branding. They will not let you impact the integrity of the shield or the crest or the logo or whatever else. They're not going to let it happen. Jeff Passan yesterday was on the Pat McAfee show. Jeff Passan is, I would argue, the most impactful baseball journalist working today, works for the Four Letter Network. He was on McAfee's show yesterday. McAfee asked him his thoughts on this whole thing. And if you've listened to my thoughts on all of this over the last year or so, they're going to sound somewhat familiar.
Pat, I think it's everyone's time. I think with the pervasiveness of sports gambling in society right now, that this is not going to be a one-time thing. And, you see Jonte Porter getting banned for life. You see Tucupita Marcano now getting banned for life. And this is for stuff that happened in the past. And maybe there is an element of scared straight that players are going to realize. But look, you see when you walk into a big league clubhouse, every time, regardless of its spring training, minor leagues, major leagues, when you're in a professional clubhouse, you see Rule 21 right there. It is plain and simple. It is in English and it is in Spanish. And it says unequivocally, do not bet on baseball. And they were just so brazen in how they put their names on their accounts. And they were essentially like narked out by gambling operators.
Yeah, the platforms.
And they were told, like Major League Baseball was told, these are the names and this is the information that we've got. And they started investigating, and now you've got 4 suspensions and the first lifetime ban for actual gambling. Like Pete Rose accepted his, but this is the first levied by Major League Baseball. According to ESPN stats and information, since 1924. It's been a century.
Wow. Jeff Passan on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Nothing that those of you that are big smart boys that have been listening to the show for some time haven't heard before. When the Jonte Porter thing was breaking in the NBA, I told you then, they are going to bring the hammer down. And I saw a lot of folks on social media yesterday that were going, wait a minute. If I go to any ballpark in a state in which gambling is legal right now, I see ads for DraftKings and what's the other Prize Picks and what's the other big one? Whatever they are, right? I see ads, Rob Brown, for BetMGM. That's who I work for on the side, all right? I see ads for Caesars and all these different books. So how can baseball hammer down on an athlete for doing something that Major League Baseball is currently accepting mucho dinero for? What do you mean? Every job has rules. Every job has things you can't do, even if that thing is perfectly legal. Every job has some sort of regulations that go, this thing may be legal, but if you want to maintain employment here, you're not going to do that thing. And you as an employee have the right to decide, does that thing matter enough that you will not get involved? There are states where the marijuana is legal, but there are businesses inside of those states that go, due to whatever reasoning, you're not allowed to do that, even if it is legal. And you get to decide, is smoking the hippie lettuce important enough that I don't want to do this job? And if the answer is yes, you can take your ass on down the road, head on somewhere else. You can go work somewhere else. That will let you get involved with whatever that thing is that you want to be able to do. If Tucupita Marcano wants to gamble on baseball, he has every right to do so. He just didn't have the right to be a Major League Baseball player. Because again, and this is coming from somebody who enjoys sports wagering. This is somebody who almost, I don't know, I wouldn't say every night, but I would say this is from somebody who probably 4 to 5 nights a week has got a multiplayer parlay down or has got a this or that bet down. For sure. I enjoy sports gambling. It makes the games more entertaining for me. I enjoy them more when I've got a read and a line, because now it's not just watching the most incredible genetic freaks on planet Earth do what they do, but now I can compete a little bit, right? I can play a little bit. It's entertaining to me. It's fun to me. Please gamble responsibly, and if you have a problem, reach out and get help. But it's fun to me. However, even if baseball is making money off of DraftKings or, thank you, Texter, FanDuel or BetMGM or Caesars or whoever, even if they are making that money, they are making that money with the fans still able to work under the assumption that while they are making money via sponsorships off of these entities, they are not allowing it to impact the game of baseball. They are not allowing players and umpires to make decisions and plays on the diamond that take away from the integrity of the game. At the end of the day, the team that won, and the team that lost, with no funny business on the side. That's the integrity of the game. Because if it does get to the point where we ever as a country genuinely feel like outcomes of games are being dictated by players, umpires, leagues in order to make the gambling money fall a certain way, what's the point? What's the point of addressing it any further? What's the point of watching baseball, right? Because it becomes, and I'm saying this as a professional wrestling fan, it becomes professional wrestling. It becomes scripted. It becomes something that you can't, I can't tune in with the same level of enjoyment. I tune into professional wrestling multiple hours every week. I know that's scripted. I know they pick winners and losers before those competitors ever walk to the ring. I'm aware of that, but I'm not watching it for great competition. I'm watching it to be entertained by a good story. That's not why I watch professional sports. I watch professional sports so that I can watch the best in the world at doing ridiculous athletic things do ridiculous athletic things. And the day that it ever comes out that an entity, an organization, a league is allowing, whether it's by one player or the commissioner himself, outcomes of the game to be dictated and predicated by people that have money on the game, is the day that I bail out. This is one of the big reasons that for many years, boxing was a favorite sport of America. And then eventually, boxing hit the skids. There are two reasons it did. Reason number one, in my heart, is because they started leaning more towards entertainment and less towards boxing. And number two was because boxers taking dives and rigging fights so that they and shady characters behind the scenes could get rich, could make money off of fights. It got to the point where if I'm a fan, why the hell am I going to tune in when I know one of those two guys is 33% likely to eat canvas intentionally just so they can get rich? I'm not watching boxing anymore. I can't have that happen to the other sports. And that is why baseball is going to bring the hammer down on Tucupita Marcano. It is why they are handing the ban hammer down to a handful of other minor league players for doing the same thing. It is why the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, MLS, everybody will do the same. There is one silver lining to this about baseball: that it happened to a nobody and not one of the bigger names in the league. If this is Mike Trout, if this is Francisco Lindor, if this is Ozzie, well, that's a bad example. If this is Austin Riley, Matt Olson, if this is a big-time name, baseball is wrapping pretzels around itself right now, trying to figure out what to do. Baseball has got to wake up today thinking, thank the baseball gods that this was a four-string nobody that we were able to bounce and not one of the bigger names. Speaking of bigger names, there's not a bigger name in the game than Lonzo.
Rob is obviously forgetting that the NFL is scripted and Keegan-Michael Key is the mastermind. Former Carolina Panther turned San Francisco 49er Christian McCaffrey signed an extension that will keep him in the Bay City for 2 more years. The new contract will pay McCaffrey around $19 million per year through 2027 and guarantees roughly $24 million up front. McCaffrey was responsible for 2,023 yards from scrimmage and 21 total touchdowns last year. The Boston Celtics have announced that center Kristaps Porzingis will officially be available for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which finally happens tomorrow night. Porzingis said his leg is still not 100% after a half strain 5 weeks ago, but Porzingis has been practicing since last Friday. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And it's all Wire to Wire.
Enjoy the taste of summer too, with amazing hand-tossed pies, cool, crisp salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, one at Estes Street in Greenville's West End.
Did you know Greenville County Animal Care has cats and dogs just waiting to find their forever family? When you adopt from Greenville County Animal Care, you're getting an animal who has been spayed or neutered, is microchipped, and is up to date on vaccinations. Most pets can be brought home the same day you adopt. We do charge a small fee to adopt a pet to help us help more animals, but sometimes we have adoption specials and the fees are waived. As a service to veterans, all adoptions are free. Visit greenvillepets.org to learn more.
Tom Hopper, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com,
Shohei's translator,
developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new
who, by the way, is facing 33 years in prison. Oops.
They were talking about it earlier on Amy's show, and they said there's speculation that he'll just be deported.
I mean, I'd honestly say he's getting off easy, right? I mean, stole, what was it, $13 million?
Check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Sports entertainment nights at 7 for MGM tonight, exclusively on the Fan and on the Odyssey app.
It's BetMGM tonight.
2 years ago, he pretty much individually won me my fantasy baseball league. This was 2 years ago because last year.
Anybody want to go to sea shanty night with me tomorrow night? It's been on my calendar for weeks.
I thought that was on Friday.
Thursdays. And apparently they're doing it every Thursday. So, yes, please.
If I want to hang out with one-eyed, toothless people, I'll just stay in the county where I live.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo. It's the Fan Upstate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fantastic start to the week. The midway point is almost here. Busy show. The rest of the ride coming up in an hour and 20 minutes from right now. Will Pelagic, Big Willie P style, going to be joining us here on the show. He'll actually be joining us on the stream today. As a matter of fact, Will Pelagic is the voice of Charlotte FC and a former Fan Upstater, as a matter of fact. Willie P will join us. We'll talk some CFC with Willie P for the first segment, and then he's going to stick around for one more, because while he is the voice of Charlotte FC, he is also a young man who covers the Carolina Panthers. And we'll talk some Panther football with Willie P. Then, right after we're done with Willie P, we'll transition over to one Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hatin' Ass Mario, NBA analyst for the BetQL Network. He will join us at 9 o'clock to talk NBA Finals today. Looking forward to having both of those handsome and talented young fellas on the show with us later this morning. It is 7:02 in the morning. You are less than an hour away from having to clock in at work. And when you do, I know what you're going to do. You're going to make up a reason that your computer is giving you a problem. You're going to make up a reason to walk down the hall and go find Chris from engineering. Say, hey, man, I can't do that thing that I need to do. You know, that thing that I got to do for my job, that thing.
I don't think I'll be doing that noise, because that implies something else.
No. What it implies is that nothing's actually broken. I just know that if Chris from engineering comes down the hall and hangs out in the office, we're going to not work for a little while. We're just going to shoot the bleep for a hot minute. We're just going to relax. And if sports is your topic of choice, then you're going to need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Burn it down! Burn it down!" Take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. When you get to the office this AM, this is what you're going to be talking about. Let's dive right in with item number 1. We talked about it a little bit in the last segment of the radio program, but it is, I think, or at least has the potential to be, a monumental moment in the world of baseball and in the world of sports as a whole. Yesterday, Major League Baseball permanently banned Tucupita Marcano, an infielder for the San Diego Padres, from the game. MLB said that Marcano had placed 300 287 baseball wagers totaling more than $150,000 in October 22, and from last July through November with a legal sports book. He became the first active player in a century banned for life because of gambling. Marcano, according to ESPN, appears to be the first active major leaguer banned under the sports gambling provision since New York Giants outfielder Jimmy O'Connell back in 1924. Of course, everybody jumps immediately to Pete Rose, baseball's active career hits leader, who famously agreed to a lifetime ban in 1989 after an investigation concluded that he bet on Reds games while managing the game. Marcano was a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates at the time that the illegal wagering, scratch that, the illegal in the eyes of Major League Baseball wagering took place. He was not, however, with the team. He was, at the time, on the injured list with a busted up ACL, not traveling, not with the team. He made the argument that he did not have any inside information and he did not have any influence over the games on which he wagered. Major League Baseball said after their investigation that they had no information to refute that claim. However, Major League Baseball's Rule 21, which is, as Jeff Passan said, and we played the audio for you in the last segment. If you missed it, you can go listen and every other hour at thefanupstate.com by dropping down the podcast button and selecting The Rob Brown Show, by going to Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your podcast and finding and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show, or by using the Odyssey app, AUDACY, on your cell phone and using the Odyssey Rewind feature to go back to the last segment of the last hour. Jeff Passan pointed out that Major League Baseball's Rule 21, which prohibits gambling on the team on which you play, is posted in every major league clubhouse. And Marcano very clearly, according to baseball, violated that rule. One other big leaguer, Oakland Athletics pitcher Michael Kelly, was declared ineligible for 1 year for betting on baseball while in the minor leagues. Additionally, minor leaguers Jay Groom of the Padres, Jose Rodriguez of Philadelphia, and Andrew Saul Frank of Arizona all banned for a year as well.
Was it Andrew Jones?
Andrew. Yes, Andrew. You can't gamble, Andrew. It's against the rules, Andrew. So ultimately, along with Marcano, Michael Kelly, Jay Groom, Jose Rodriguez, and Andrew Saul Frank have all taken a 1 year ban for gambling. All of them got a 1 year ban as they were all minor leaguers betting on Major League Baseball. At the time, Marcano became the second North American athlete banned for gambling in recent months. Of course, the first was Toronto's Jonte Porter out of the NBA. He caught a lifetime ban in April after concluding he disclosed confidential information to bettors and wagered on games, including a team he was on, to lose. The other four players did not bet on games involving their, at the time, assigned teams, hence the 1 year suspension as opposed to a lifetime ban. So, Tucupita Marcano, the first baseball player, the second North American athlete to catch the full-time L for gambling in on the sport in which they participate. Let's go to item number 2. The Summer Olympics in Paris are just weeks away. I know we are all very excited, no? We are all I don't know what I'm doing there. I really don't. I'm bad at this. The Summer Olympics, not terribly long away. And, of course, soccer is one of the major sports at said Olympics. The United States women's national team playing through their last round of international friendlies as they prepare to head across to the River Seine in Paris and take on the rest of the world in the Olympics. Last night, 3 days after they defeated South Korea 4-0, they get a second win over South Korea, this time putting a 3-0 victory on the books. Impressive, not just because of the win against a good South Korean side, but on top of that, 16-year-old Lily Johannes scored in her debut with the national team. She entered the game in the 72nd minute, popped a goal in the 82nd minute for the United States. She joined Crystal Dunn, who scored in the 13th minute, and Sophia Smith, who scored in the 67th minute on the scoreline for the Americans last night. You had, as we mentioned, you would, a very young lineup for the Americans, not just because of the Olympic rules, which do have an age cap on them, but also because there is a transition happening right now. Not only do you have a new coach in Emma Hayes that is in charge of the U.S. women's national team. She makes her way over from a storied run for Chelsea's women's side. But you are also starting to see a player personnel rollover as well. Casey Murphy, Emily Sonnet, Sam Staub, Casey Kruger, Corbin Albert, Lindsey Horan, Rose Lavelle, Jenna Neiswanger, Crystal Dunn, and Jaden Shaw, all joined by the Captain America, Alex Morgan, on the pitch last night. We also saw, by the way, in case you were trying to pay attention, former Greenville Liberty player Hal Hirschfeld was on the roster last night. Now, she was a substitute reserve available player the last two games that has not yet seen action, or at least did not in these two matches. You will see Hal Hirschfeld out there at some point. Also joining her on that rotation was Sam Staub. Sam Staub, a former Clemson Tiger who did play in the matchup last night, played the full 90 for the U.S. women's national team. Again, a 3-0 win over South Korea, comes on the heels of a 4-0 win 3 days before that matchup against the same South Korean side. So the United States women's national team will now prepare for a matchup 8 days away against rivals Mexico El Tri, and the Americans set to get it on as we move ever closer to the Summer Games. Let us move on to item number 3. Screw it. I'm putting it on there. The Braves won last night. I really don't want that to be a thing. I really don't want to do a thing where Braves win is an item on the water cooler cheat sheet. Now, I do have to point out that obviously we are... Y'all, alarm. I didn't say it. Did I say it? Alarm. Or are you saying that I am alarmed?
Well, it's after the panic of last week. Yeah, after the panic of last week. There we go. After the panic of last week, which I still say was not real panic. I think you were trying reverse psychology, which apparently seems to have worked for the team. Because after your panic, now they're winning, and now you don't know what to do.
Let's ease up on they are winning. They won. This is the first in a 1-game win streak. They are not winning. They have won a game. 8-3 winners on the road up in Fenway Park.
How many games have they had since Friday?
They have had. They played 2 over the weekend. They were off yesterday. So 4.
And what's the record in those 4?
The Atlanta Braves, great one, after dropping 3 out of 4 against the DC Nationals, are 3-1 in their last 4, including a pair of wins, however, over the lowly Oakland Athletics. I mean, listen, dude. If I go down to the local middle school and beat a bunch of 6th graders in a pickup game, do I get to come in here and brag about it the next day?
Okay, so what you're saying is it's 162 games, right? Is it?
Yes.
Okay, out of the 162, games, there are some games that don't count because they're playing middle schoolers.
No.
That's what I mean. So those don't count on the overall wins and losses.
Every game counts, but great one. Do you wake up the next day after you beat, I don't know, the Carolina Panthers and go, great win, boys, great win. Yeah, we showed them.
Yeah,
We're good.
You absolutely do, because that's one more notch towards making the playoffs in the NFL. But I think 3 out of 4 games, that's pretty good. I guess I'm wrong.
You beat the Oakland Athletics. 2 out of 3, by the way. You didn't switch.
Yeah, you won,
be,
but you only won by a run, so it doesn't really count. So we're going to count that as a loss. And then you won these games, but you were playing a bad team, so we can't really count that either. So right now, if we go through and we look at the Braves' overall record, they actually have a losing record because they beat teams that they're supposed to beat, and those don't count.
For the record, I am not being inconsistent here, because you will remember when we talked about the Philadelphia Phillies, a team that currently leads the Atlanta Braves in the National League East now by a full 7 games. I made the point that, because I am consistent, that while I am impressed by what Philly has done so far, I'm not overly impressed, because Philly played what is very easily the worst opening 50 in all of Major League Baseball. They played out of 50 games, 3 against a team that was 500 or better at the time of first pitch.
Is the playoff started tomorrow? Would the Braves be in it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine.
But the playoffs don't start tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
The playoffs start months from now. And this team that we are watching now, a team that is reveling at beating the Oakland Athletics, I can't guarantee would be in a playoff spot months from now based on what is happening in the rest of the National League, because no team operates in a bubble. There are other teams trying to win.
There are other Braves fans out there listening. Text line 71307 or on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X. Do you have the same attitude that Rob does?
Yes, they do.
Because this is like the bottom end of fans who are just not happy no matter what. They're looking at the record. Yeah, but we could be better.
No.
Yeah, but but we're only beating teams like this. Yeah, dude. You already sounded the alarm Friday.
Not happy no matter what is untrue. If the Braves turn this into a 10-game win streak, I will be absolutely ecstatic.
So there's a number. So if they get to 6, that's not good enough. 7, no. 8, 9, no. But 10, then you'll be happy.
Lonzo, if the Chiefs win a game versus if they win 7, 8, 9 games in a row, at which point do you go, yeah, we're pretty good?
I am not happy when my team, the team that I root for, wins any games.
Well, you're a better person than me.
I don't look at quality of opponent. I don't look at, oh man, they won with the last second field goal. It's just like there's a W there. I'm pretty happy about that.
Okay. I expect you
You're turning into old negative man on the porch going, back in my day, the Braves won a whole lot of games like they did last year and didn't do anything with it. Maybe this year, not winning as many games will make them a little more hungry and they'll do something better in the postseason.
I will remind you of that. I expect the same enthusiasm in week 2 when The Ohio State University beats Ball State as you have when you beat Michigan. The exact same level of enthusiasm.
Okay. All right. And how excited do I get about anything? I mean, so are you going to be able to tell? I don't know. Maybe.
You watched The Acolyte last night?
No. I'm waiting for tonight.
I got a lot of
it was on too late. I'm waiting till tonight. I'll watch it tonight.
I got a lot of negative feedback from my Star Wars buddies last night.
Yeah, I've seen
a lot of negative kickback.
Without reading, I've seen half of the nerds really excited about it and the other half not. So I will make my judgment after watching it.
I got a lot of negative feedback, even from my young, hip, cool, woke friends. They're like, it's a little egregious. So
Oh, now I'm looking for it because you just said that.
Why? You don't let other people's opinions
Yeah,
and critics impact your stuff,
now,
right?
Now I'm looking for it. Now you're saying that it's overly politicized and I shouldn't watch it.
Yes, that's what I said. I said, don't go home and watch The Acolyte.
That's absolutely what you just said.
Yep, for sure. I was like,
by the way, Chris on the stream, whoever you may be, go away. You don't listen to sports. You don't like sports.
There's your water cooler cheat sheet. Top 3 sports stories and sports stories in The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming right back. Y'all stay right there. BRB. All right, we're back. Is an innuendo like Rob gave technically considered a spoiler? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I didn't spoil anything. Spoiler is telling you what happened. I didn't tell you what happened. Do you think if you're not ambidextrous, you could teach yourself to throw a baseball with your left hand? Or do you feel like you're just like it's impossible to do it? Or with your offhand? How long do you think it would take for me to learn how to throw a baseball with my left hand? Because I can't. Like, you think I could learn it within like 3 months, 6 months, a year?
It'd be easier to learn if you were younger.
I think so too. Because I've been throwing a baseball one way for 40 years almost. Well, no, I didn't play baseball as a actual baby, but you get the point. Like with throwing right-handed, it's just natural, right? You just do it. With the left hand, even if I go through like old throwing mechanics, it's so natural with the right hand. But to mirror it with the left hand is just awkward. Like right hand, tee it, bring the elbow back, throw it over the top. That's one thing. Do it with the left hand.
Yes, I'm quite frightened right now with how much he drops things that he's doing that.
Not a baseball. I drop pens, pencils, tablets, PCs.
Yeah, but you were holding.
I
it
don't
with,
drop balls.
You
I
were
don't
holding
fumble.
it with your left hand.
I don't fumble. We have talked at length about what the great one and I think, both consider the maturity or the maturation of one Kyrie Irving. And I think it's justified. I think it is justified that we talk about the maturity of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, as far as we've been able to tell, is a different cat than he has been in years gone by. And Kyrie Irving, to me, kind of proved that a little bit yesterday. Kyrie Irving did a press conference yesterday. Kyrie Irving was, and this may shock you. We will shock you. Kyrie Irving, in what may or may not be shocking to some of you, was asked a couple of times about his time in and his departure from the Boston Celtics. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention for any length of time, you are aware that he now plays for the Dallas Mavericks, who are in the NBA championship against the Boston Celtics. Yes, if you listen to the Rob Brown Show, you knew that already. We have kept you up to date on all the latest National Basketball Association news and information heading towards tomorrow's Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Finally, after like almost a week.
You're not gonna do the thing?
No, I still am sick. I would be under the table coughing.
You sick freak!
Wait, I should just play.
You sick.
There it is.
You sick.
I'm an artist. I'm an artiste. Anyway, Kyrie Irving now plays.
How low is that?
Goat. Kyrie Irving plays for the Dallas Mavericks. They are about to square off tomorrow in Game 1 of the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. His former team, a team that he used to play for, and when he left, it got a little bit UGLY, and Kyrie ain't had no alibi. It was ugly. Yeah. It was ugly. And ever since then, Kyrie has been a little bit of a, shall we say, antagonist. Kyrie made his return to the Garden not terribly long ago. Back in 2022, Kyrie Irving returned to the Boston Garden. The fans of the Celtics gave Kyrie a, shall we say, less than warm return to Beantown. And Kyrie, noticeably up in his feels, decided to return the love and affection of Boston fans with a little two-finger salute. He gave the old double bird. And as we have said on this show many times, the single bird is reserved for people you actually like. The single bird is like when you see your buddy out in public and he catches your eye for the first time, you flip him the old bird. It is, to some of us, as much a sign of love and affection as it is anything
so
else.
Those people who I think are raging on the road, they're actually saying, "Hey, bro," when they fill up the single. Okay, all right.
The single bird can also be reserved for people in other cars who do dumb things.
Because I mean, if they give you the double, their hands are not on the wheel.
It's all about the context of the single bird, you know? It's all about the context of the bird. It's kind of like the way you can say bro, right? If I see Lonzo out in public, I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, bro? Good to see you." But if somebody gets up in my face and makes a move on my lady at the bar, I'm going to be like, bro, you want to go, bro? Bro, what are you doing, bro? Who do you think you are, bro? The same word, way different context.
My granddaughter now is saying bro every few seconds. I didn't know that was a thing now in kindergarten, but apparently it is.
Please tell me that she has called you bro at least once.
Oh, she has, which I don't care.
Bro.
My wife does not care for it, though.
Does she call Miss Lisa bro?
Yes.
Incredible.
She's like, "Come on, bro." I'm just laughing.
Incredible. So Kyrie Irving with the double bird, I feel like the context of that was much more, "Who do you think you are, bro?" than Lonzo's granddaughter calling him bro, which is, again, utterly hysterical. Kyrie Irving, I cannot tell. I want to give him credit, and we have on this show been giving him credit. We have been giving him credit for a level of maturation, a level of growth, a level of, I think, introspection that Kyrie Irving should probably be commended for. Because I don't think that this Kyrie-Luka team-up works with old Kyrie. But yesterday, I got in the car after this show had concluded. I went down to the Fortress of Nerditude. I got my post-game work done. And when I got in the car to go home, the final hour of Writer Than You with Bill Ryder, which airs on this station immediately at the conclusion of this show from 10 until noon every day, Writer Than You had just begun. And Bill Ryder was talking about the press conference that Kyrie Irving did. Now, I didn't play anything from the press conference of Kyrie Irving yesterday because I really didn't know where and how it was going to fit into the conversation that we had scheduled on yesterday's show about the NBA Finals. But I do know where it fits in today. Because on one hand, the clips that Bill Ryder played, I was frankly pretty impressed with Kyrie. Kyrie sounded like a dude who got it. Kyrie sounded like a dude who understood the assignment, as the kids are wont to say. So I went home and I listened to the rest of that press conference. Because, again, I want to believe in Kyrie. You know, Lonzo, there's just some people you believe in. I want to believe in Kyrie. I want to believe in Kyrie as a redemption story. I want to believe in Kyrie as a teachable moment. I want to believe that Kyrie is going to be an illustration of what happens when you are too big for your own britches, when you are the poster child for the Dunning-Kruger effect, when you are ate up with your own image, and then you learn and you grow and you mature and you become a different guy. And he is, I think, already on his way to becoming that. But if he was to win an NBA World Championship by beating his old team, the Boston Celtics, and not for a second do I think playing in B-Town is going to be anywhere close to a love fest between Cease fans and Kyrie, it would cap that off for one Kyrie. So when we come back, I pulled 2 clips from Kyrie's press conference. I'd like to play them and see, do you believe that Kyrie Irving has actually grown and matured, or do you think that Kyrie is putting on a show?
There it is. I was waiting.
I think it's a very fair question to ask.
So do I.
And I think it's a very fair question to ask, Alonzo, because I think the answer impacts the NBA Finals. If it's the former and Kyrie really has grown, I think Dallas can absolutely win the series. But if he's faking it, I think they're in trouble. So I'll play you those clips when we come back, and we'll talk a little bit more about how Kyrie fits into these NBA Finals, which kick off tomorrow night on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I am going to say the person opposite the desk from me is not Lorenzo. You will know when Lorenzo Wrightsell shows up on the show. All right, guys, give me 60 seconds. I will be right back. Kyrie Irving is doing one of 2 things right now. Kyrie Irving is either A, on an incredible redemption arc as he approaches the end of his career, or B, Kyrie Irving is setting himself up to do one of the funniest things that's ever happened in sports, which is to beat the Boston Celtics in the finals and then reflip them the double bird while he takes the trophy away. I don't know which is which. And the reason I say that is because yesterday, as I got into the vehicle to head back to the house after we got off of the air, I was listening to Bill Ryder from Ryder Than You, which airs on this station right after our show concludes at 10 a.m. And Bill Ryder played a couple of clips from the Kyrie Irving press conference that the Dallas Mavericks did as they get locked and loaded for the NBA Finals. Again, game 1 tomorrow evening between Dallas and Boston. And he said, Bill Ryder, he said, you got to respect this out of Kyrie, right? He's grown up. He's matured. He's become a better person. And just so that we are clear, I want to believe that. I absolutely believe that the drama that Kyrie Irving has not just been involved with, but Lonzo, is it fair to say that Kyrie over his career has encouraged drama to follow him around?
He has been the drama.
Yeah.
In quite a few places.
Is it me? Am I the drama? In Kyrie's case, the answer is it kind of feels like it. Kind of feels like it. Whether it was in Cleveland at the end of the LeBron James team up. By the way, did you see what Braun said yesterday? He said he's super happy to see where Kyrie is, and he regrets that Kyrie's not, quote, my running mate anymore. I'm not saying LeBron's trying to recruit Kyrie to come out to LA for one more, but he might not be.
There was already negotiations. They were trying to get him to LA. And
There sure was.
And they fell through.
There sure was.
So he wouldn't have been in. Well, maybe he would have. Maybe that's the piece that LA needed.
Maybe so.
Because it definitely has helped Dallas get to where they are.
And keep in mind, LeBron's going to turn down his free agency offer from LA to sign a new contract, which means that while most of us think he will end up back with the Lakers, there's a chance he doesn't. Could he be maybe trying to butter Kyrie up for a Cleveland run one more time? I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. But we'll see. Anyway, Kyrie had 2 answers in the press conference yesterday. I'm actually going to play you his last answer first, and then his second answer last. It's a bit of a lengthy one, just a couple of minutes here, but I want you to listen very closely to these 2 answers. Kyrie was asked twice, 2 different ways, about his departure from Boston, his relationship with Boston, and his growth ever since he left Boston. Here is the last answer Kyrie gave about that. He said, forgetting to unmute the site,
I think I'm better at consolidating kind of the emotions now, or being aware of what it's going to be like. We call it animosity, we call it hate, we call it, it's going to be hell in Boston. I mean, there are real live circumstances going on in the world that are bigger than the basketball kind of competitive side of things and answering those questions. But I will say, last time in Boston, I don't think that was the best, not this regular season, but when we played in the playoffs and everyone saw me flip off the birds and kind of lose my shit a little bit. That wasn't a great reflection of who
my bad. Thought I caught it. That's on me.
On a high level.
Kyrie, you jerk. Anyway, there's part of the answer. I know the other one's good. I checked it. Thought I caught that one. That's on me.
So you're absolutely positive.
Yeah, the other one's good. I listened to it. The other one's good. I listened to it. But blah, blah, blah.
Did you listen to the one you just played?
I did. So maybe let's let that thing reload and see where we go.
Yeah.
Either way, Kyrie said, I flipped the bird. I lost my bleep a little bit. Except he didn't say bleep, apparently. Said I lost my bleep a little bit, and it wasn't a good reflection on me. Now, regardless of the language that Kyrie may or may not possibly, potentially, theoretically, but definitely not provably used right there in that clip.
Unless you're on the stream, and then you
can't prove nothing.
Then you might be able to prove it.
Can't prove nothing. Regardless of the language that Kyrie used for this, I'm not even going to play the second clip now. Now I'm in my own head.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Not even in my own head.
You could tell us what he said.
Kyrie said the Boston thing wasn't a good reflection on me. The Boston thing wasn't a good reflection on me. The flipping the double birds was not a good reflection on me. The losing my cool, as he definitely said, was not a good reflection on me. Bill Ryder did go on a bit of an off the cuff tangent that I thought was great about the concept of utilizing there's bigger things out there in the world as a bit of a fall off. Because yeah, that's true. There are bigger things in the world, but we're not here to talk about that, right? We're not here at the press conference leading in to the NBA Finals to talk about Israel and Palestine. Palestine. I'm an idiot. Shut up. Leave me alone. I'm dumb. I'm recoiling a little bit here. We're not here at the NBA Finals press conference to talk about the Israel-Palestine situation. We're here to talk about the NBA Finals, Kyrie. And you are a part of that. You are a major part of that. So we are kind of here to talk about how this impacts you. So I thought I agree with Bill Ryder. That's a little bit weak.
Should he have said, like most sports, it's an emotional game as well as a physical game. And sometimes your emotions get the better of you when adrenaline's going. And sometimes you do things that maybe you regret. And I've gotten better at controlling that.
I think that is kind of the direction he was going in, right? Because at the beginning of that clip, he said, I think I've gotten better at compartmentalizing my emotions away from the game. I think I've gotten better at taking the emotions of Kyrie Irving and putting them over here in this box while I'm on the floor so that I can dial in on basketball and being able to come back later and worry about those emotions at a different time. But there was a second part. You know what? I know this one's good. All right? I know this one's good. I'm going to put Lonzo on alert, but I know this one's good. There was another question Kyrie got asked. And this is the one that made me go, but are you though? Are you though? Because for a guy that is talking about putting the emotions to bed and dialing in on being a teammate, you did kind of talk a lot about Kyrie right here.
Yeah, I just think moving on to the next thing, just learn how to move on and let go of the past. It could cripple you if you allow it to, because I've been bombarded with Boston questions since I left and people trying to figure out what actually happened. But again, I think the full story will come out probably when I'm retired or when it's appropriate, like I said, because I didn't mind after a few years taking the brunt of the blame, one of the best players in the world. So I know it comes with that fair criticism. But it's just a little bit more grace could have been extended my way, especially what I was dealing with during that time as a human being. I know sometimes in sports, it's literally about the end goal and result and what you accomplish, and that's one thing, but we're still human at the end of the day, and I wasn't my best self during that time. So when I look back on it, I just see it as a time where I learned how to let go of things and learned how to talk through my emotions. I came into the league at 19 years old, not knowing how to be a young man as of yet. Because this whole lifestyle was thrown at me. I was expected to do wondrous things, but I just wanted to continue to develop as a human being. And once I put that first, then, you see me flourishing now.
Okay. So as Lonzo takes a deep breath of relaxation and relief.
Well, it was well said. I mean, everything he said, I thought that was a very good answer.
I do too. I liked a lot of that.
I'm guessing you're offended when he said one of the best players in the world.
Not offended.
Okay,
Not offended.
Because you're in the NBA, you're absolutely one of the best players in the world.
Oh, for sure. Not just in the NBA.
Those guys sitting on the bench that never see the court, they're some of the best players in the world.
Oh, for sure. The worst NBA player would put 100 up on professional leagues in other parts of the world, right? Not offended. There are two things that jumped off the page at me about that answer. And again, for the record, and I've said this before, despite our butting heads over the flat earth stupidity and well, I'll just leave it at some of the other conspiracy theories that Kyrie's floated over the years. Despite my animosity towards what I think is ignorance and a wonderful display of the Dunning-Kruger effect from Kyrie, I do kind of appreciate the redemption arc he's going through right now. there were a couple of things he said there that I really liked. One of them is something that I have said for a while, specifically about young athletes. Part of the reason that you have young athletes being idiots is because when we recognize in middle school that a kid has pro ball potential, I have seen it firsthand. Those kids are treated differently.
Baby Gronk.
Right. I have seen coaches in schools that have allowed players to directly violate rules and get away with it. And when they get caught, skirt punishments so that they could continue to play. I've seen it happen firsthand. I know for a fact that there have been players that were expected to be top-tier pro athletes that get away with everything. Get away with everything. And so it does not shock or surprise me when, as Kyrie pointed out, a 19-year-old kid who is, quote, expected to do wondrous things shows up, gets millions of dollars and hot chicks and free stuff dumped in their laps.
You're a winner, man. You're the real deal. You're picking up chicks.
And they turn around and they kind of turn out to be buttholes a little bit. It doesn't shock me all that much. And I've said, I absolutely, as Kyrie asked for, I extend a little bit of forgiveness to those players. I extend a little bit of grace to those players because you can't know right from wrong unless you are taught right from wrong. And a lot of these players, I can tell you for a fact, are not taught right from wrong. There is no consequences for them in their actions over the years. And because there are no consequences for them over the years, they never learn how to act appropriately, ethically, morally, whatever you want to use there. But what Kyrie said that kind of threw me off a little bit there was the same thing that I just hit on. You know, I could have had a little more grace extended my way. I could have had a little more compassion extended my way. People could have been more thoughtful about how I felt and what I was going through.
You feel me? For real. Do you feel him, sir? I do.
And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I mean, I guess you should be able to say that because I'm saying that. I defend athletes with that exact same take. Yeah, that kid did a real dumb thing, but like maybe let them learn. Maybe they've never had a chance to learn. And Kyrie Irving is absolutely in that group of highly touted young players that we knew from their early days was going to be a star. Maybe they should have gotten a little grace for acting like an idiot at various spots throughout his career. Maybe he should get a little forgiveness, compassion, grace from us as fans. But Zoe, was there any part of you that heard those answers, or at least most of them, that Kyrie Irving gave there that made you go, did you really get it, or are you just playing a role on the team right now? Did you really get it, or have you realized that Dallas needs this Kyrie to win, and there's still a little bit of that old Kyrie dog in you?
There better be a little bit of that old dog in him, because that's he's going to need that little bit of extra. Maybe that little bit, I need some vengeance against this team to get just that little bit that he needs to help the team win.
Yeah, early in that second answer, you heard him say there was some other stuff going on. One day when I retire, the full story about Boston will come out. I think people didn't understand what was going on, and one day you'll be able to get all the deets. I mean, there is a little part of me that kind of hopes Kyrie wants to come out and drop 60 every game. But I also understand that's not the game that they need Kyrie Irving to play. They need Kyrie to be supplemental.
Here's what we need. Here's what I would like to see. And that's the Mavs winning the championship. And while he's on the podium, getting the MVP over Luka, because he outperformed Luka. He was that good that suddenly that smile comes over his face and he turns around to the crowd and he does something I would never do, but that's fine. He flashes the birds, and then walks off.
Wait, come on, Stone Cold. Hell yeah! I totally agree. I think it'd be hilarious. Now, I will say this. Kyrie Irving cannot outperform Luka Doncic or Dallas can't win. Kyrie Irving cannot be number one.
Well,
Can't do it.
let's say when I say outperform, let's say that Luka has 30, but Kyrie has 40. And they also get help from the bench.
I don't know that they're set up that way. We're going to talk about that coming up later.
They're usually
the
one gets 30, the other gets 30. So the other one gets a little bit hotter of a hand. I don't
disagree, but Kyrie gets 30 because Luka gets 30, not the other way around.
So Luka doesn't get 30 because Kyrie gets 30.
Correct. Yes, that is absolutely how I feel.
It's kind of odd.
We will ask Hate and Ask Mario that coming up at 9:00 when he joins us to talk more about this. We'll get into some of the X's and O's and how he feels this series plays out. I do need there to be a little bit of that dog left in Kyrie, for sure. But I don't wonder if this is a little bit of an act or if Kyrie really is that mature cat that recognizes who he is on this team and plays that role to perfection in these finals like Dallas needs him to. You know who's the Luka Doncic of sports flashes? Lonzo.
Yeah, I'm going to tell something that Rob doesn't want me to tell you, and that's the Atlanta Braves won. The Atlanta Braves took an 8-3 decision despite his panic on the road over the Boston Red Sox last night. Max Fried set a career record with 13 strikeouts in 7 innings while allowing only 4 hits and 1 walk, earning the decision. The Braves scattered 8 hits across the game, including a 3-run homer from Ozzie Albies in the 6th and a 2-run shot from Orlando Arcia in the 7th. Major League Baseball has banned Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano from the sport for life for gambling on the sport. Marcano gambled on the game last year while on the injured list with a torn ACL last year, placing 387 wagers between October of 2022 and November of 2023. And he didn't do very well. He did poorly, actually. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 for a brand new local show. Wire to Wire, Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest local sports. Wire to Wire. Jam Cam, bro. Fish Trap Road. I wonder, do they have traps for fish on Fish Trap Road? Do they actually have fish traps on Fish Trap Road? Is there like a body of water somewhere near there? I don't know. I probably have been on it. I just don't remember because I don't really go anywhere anymore. I used to, though. I'm glad this chair could handle my massive spin.
Your massive spin? Oh. Yeah, me too. All right. There's a guy that has 2 4-leg parlays in play right now. One of them, he correctly predicted South Carolina to win the women's basketball championship and UConn to win the men's. And he's got the Boston Celtics to win the NBA title and the Florida Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. He can cash out now for $9,000 or let that ticket ride for $36,000.
Keep talking.
His other ticket He correctly predicted the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, Carolina to win the women's, UConn to win the men's, and he has the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup championship. He can cash out that one for $4,500, or he can let it ride for $13,000. Are you cashing out? One has to fail because he's got both sides of the Stanley Cup championship. Do you let one ride? Do you let them both ride knowing one's going to go wrong and hope the other one hits?
How much money do you lose if that happens, though?
$100 on on the first one, the one that pays $36,000, $100. On the one that pays $13,000, $25. I think for $125, I'm letting them both ride.
Yeah, probably.
Right? For $100, if I'm at $125, the problem is he's going to win either $13,000 if one of them hits. Now he could have both of them miss. Did that door just open a little bit?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw it. I saw it move.
Are you sure?
I saw it. Shut
You're
up.
absolutely
Shut
positive?
up. Shut up. Shut
Dude,
up.
there are
I saw
reflections
it
all
move.
over this room.
Knock it off.
Knock what off?
There is no need for that, Lonzo. None.
How you doing?
No need for that at all.
No need for what?
That door freaking opened. I turned around and saw it moving.
Do you see a person in the room?
Chris, I know it was you.
Why would Chris come in here?
I don't know, but I know he did.
Nothing's inoperable as far as I'm aware.
Maybe
so he would have no need to come in here.
He might have needed to come test the dump button since we've had no reason to utilize it anytime recently.
Yeah. Got to come in and make sure that thing's working.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown radio program starts now. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up in the next segment and sticking with us through the entire hour from 8:20 all the way up till 9 o'clock. Willie P, Will Pelagic, voice of Charlotte FC. He also covers.
Did you send him the thing?
I did not. I was going to send it to him during the segment. I'll send it to him now, though.
Okay.
Actually, you might have to send him because I don't know if I have his email. Actually, I know I have his email. I got his email somewhere, right? I got to. That's Willie P. I gotta have his email somewhere. Will.
Yeah, good luck spelling that. I mean,
I don't have his email. Do you have his email?
No.
Come on. I'm gonna need you to text him and get his email. Apparently. Let's get some NFL stories here. While we set up for Will Pelagic, joins us in the next segment. By the way, he'll join us on the stream. You should be watching the stream. You're at work. You can turn it on, put it on your computer, put it on the TV that hangs on the wall in your executive office, like the great one and mine's. Mine's the great one. Mine and the great ones.
That ain't yours. That's mine's.
The Fortress of Nerditude has a TV in it. Yours is yours should as well.
My TV, by the way. That was a Father's Day gift.
I didn't say it had my TV in it. I said it had a TV in it.
No, I was just pointing out that my children love me, and it's almost Father's Day. That's all. That's all I was pointing out.
So, if y'all want to get Lonzo a bigger TV for the office, you're welcome to.
No, Cameron.
I think that's what he's saying.
Cameron already got me something nice for Father's Day, and you know what it is. Well, we'll see if it's nice. Well, because I realized something. I have never been to a rock concert before. I've been to Christian rock concerts, but I've never been to a what you would consider a rock concert.
Y'all, Lonzo's coming to see Creed with us.
And other bands, yeah. So
yeah, but you're coming to see Creed.
We're
all going to see Creed.
I'm there to see Creed and Switchfoot because I'm a big Switchfoot fan.
I'm excited about seeing Switchfoot too.
Yeah, so I've never been to the only concert that I've been to that wasn't a Christian concert was Club Nouveau at the Ohio State Fair. That was in like 1987. They did a song called Jealousy. You've heard it before.
Hey, Jealousy.
No, different one.
Hey,
they also did
Jealousy.
a version of Lean on Me that was pretty popular in the 80s.
Was it kind of like
it was poppy.
I think I know it. Yeah, I was going to say I'm trying to come up with the
You probably heard it in the club.
You know me.
Yeah.
I hear all my music in the club.
Well, back in the day, probably in the club. Yeah.
Bottle full of bub, mom, I got what you need. Okay, that's 50 Cent.
Okay.
Lonzo's coming to see Creed with us.
And I have never been to a rock concert.
We're expanding horizons out here.
Had chances to go see Kiss, and then I was.
And you passed?
No, I was told the evil of the band and made to feel guilty, and I didn't go. Doesn't matter. Whatever. You can roll your eyes. But I listened to the people who did not want me to go, and I didn't go. And
I just wonder how many people missed out on excellent experiences like Kiss concerts because of that.
Whatever. I don't regret it. I remember it. No.
Kiss put on incredible shows.
I'm sure they do.
And never once did I see a demon fly off the stage.
You know what? I take it back. I did see kind of a rock concert. I went to see Weird Al. So, I mean, I don't know if you consider that parts of it were.
I want you to know I was very, very prepared to clap back at whoever you were about to list there. But no, you listed a goat. Listed a goat.
Oh, that's the last concert I went to see. It was excellent. It was before COVID. Weird Al.
How do you?
The costume changes, the choir, the band. He was really good.
How do you, as a musician, have so many past concerts? Passed on, not past like in your past.
I've seen a ton of Christian concerts.
Right.
And that was my music that I was playing. So you go see what you play.
Oh, I go see I go see everything I can get tickets to.
You go see everything.
Yep.
You do. But this is my son said for Father's Day, I'm going to get you this. There were some other complications, which we'll see what happens with that.
Is this going to be the first concert you've gone to with your kid, non-Christian?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So after Creed, I will have officially seen more concerts with your son.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
he came and saw Bit Brigade with me, which was incredible. We had a ball.
Which I could have come to see that.
By the way, you would have loved it. You would have loved it.
See, my problem is atmosphere. If I'm out there and everybody out there is if I smell certain smells and things like that, it's going to take away from the experience.
You kids and your hippie lettuce.
Yes, exactly. I know there's going to be imbibing of other things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Including yours truly.
Yeah, I get it. My only stipulation is I needed a seat because standing for 3 hours, probably not something I want to do as an older person.
So
there will be times where you'll find out where I'm sitting and you'll see me sitting down and think, well, he's not
having a good time.
Enjoying himself. No, I'm just old.
Just like at wrestling.
Well, I'm probably, what is it? Is it Three Doors Down? What's the middle band?
Trapped.
Or is it Trapped?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't think so.
No, Finger 11. Finger 11. Trapped is the other show.
It was something with a number in it.
Yeah,
I knew it was something with a number.
Finger 11.
So I might be sitting for them, although I'm guessing they're opening. I would think Switchfoot would be the second.
I don't think
band.
so. I think Switchfoot opens, then Finger 11.
Okay, well, that works out. That works out. So I can rest a little in between.
Finger 11 is 100% my go-to-the bar band.
Yeah, so
Switchfoot, I won't move. Creed, obviously, I won't move. Now, I will tell you this. Quick lulls story before we get Willie P up in here in the next segment. I bought these tickets to go see Creed almost a year ago. Right when the minute they went on sale, me and about 11 of the bros all jumped on and we all got our tickets. And we are all going in the grass. We're all going grass because there's no chance I'm sitting down while Scott and Brian and the boys are on the stage, right? No chance I'm sitting down for that. Well, I bought these tickets last year. And I said when I bought them, it does not matter what is happening. It does not matter what is going on. I am not missing Creed because I missed opportunities to see Creed when they were in their heyday. I did not get around to it. I'm not missing Creed again. Well, we discovered not too terribly long ago that Creed will be playing in Simpsonville the week of ACC Media Days.
What you need to be mentioned.
I don't care. It's not like it's not going to be obvious when it happens.
Well, yeah, but
right?
But still, I mean, you said you had tickets in that meeting, but you didn't say for what.
No, I told him yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We had the
all
conversation.
Right. Okay, all right.
I made sure, mainly because he's like, dude, what is happening? So here's what's going on.
Did he make fun of you after you told him what band?
Shockingly, no, he was cool with it.
Here's the thing. Creed still really big on the playlist on the planet. We've had discussions about that. I don't know if
Absolutely.
it's changed recently, but people are more Creed fans than they are Alter Bridge, which I don't get, but that's fine. I mean, whatever your taste is.
I love Alter Bridge, and I am a bigger fan of Creed than Alter Bridge.
Alter
For
Bridge
sure.
has had more albums and more hits than Creed, but still.
I don't know I don't know that that's not true. I also do not care if it is. At all.
It's basically the same band with a different singer.
It is. It's Creed without Stat. So I got the tickets.
I'm not going for Stat, by the way. I want to.
You are going for Stat.
No, I'm going for the guitarist
and Stat. So I bought the tickets. I'm like, I'm not missing it. Well, it turns out the Creed concert falls on a Tuesday night that also happens to be dead set center of ACC Media Days. Now, I've covered the ACC Media Days every year since I've moved here, including the COVID year. I have covered that event every year since I have moved here. It is one of my favorite events to cover. I think you get a lot out of that. You get a lot of knowledge about the rest of Clemson's conference. You get a lot from Dabo. We always have Don Munson come sit with us for a handful of segments and talk Clemson ball with us. It's a very good time.
I apologize for not going with you because I actually have the opportunity
You
to
sure
go,
do.
and I don't want to. Because of Creed. That's why I don't want to go.
All right. So what's going to end up happening is Rob Brown will be going over on Sunday night, popping in the hotel room because I can't get up Monday morning. I'd have to leave my house at like 2 a.m. to get there in time to set up and be ready for the show. So I'll be in Charlotte Sunday night. We will do the show live from Media Day Monday morning. That is the morning that the commish will give his state of the conference.
By the way, Steven says, please tell me Zoe isn't going to do coverage. I've been to ACC Media Days, lugged up all the equipment. An ex-employee wouldn't help me with anything. And then I had to do a good bit of the interviews because he didn't know who the people were. So don't give me like I can't do that stuff. Lorenzo is gone.
So I'll be going to Charlotte on Sunday night, popping into a hotel. I'll do the show from there Monday. I'll cover the commission's State of the Union. We will carry that live on the website when it happens. And then on Monday night, after ACC Media Days Day 1, I will stay in Charlotte again. I will do the show Tuesday morning live from Charlotte, North Carolina, and ACC Media Days Day number 2. Florida State is on the schedule. Miami is on the schedule. I will cover day number 2. Then when day number 2 is over, I will be getting in the car. I will be driving back to the upstate because Tuesday night is Creed. And I told the boss on Monday when we were putting together our media day plans, because not only am I going to go, but Wire to Wire with Cole Bryant and Diesel will be there as well.
Cole Bryson. I mean,
What'd I say?
You said Cole Bryant. I don't want him to get mad at you.
Cole, Des Bryant, and Diesel will be there.
That might hurt his feelings too, since Des Bryant, is no longer there.
That's true. Yeah. So Cole and Diesel will be there as well. So we're putting our plan together, and I told the boss man, I'm like, hey, yo, listen, I'm going to be off on Wednesday. I am a very unselfish teammate, okay? I do everything I can to help up. When I'm asked to cover, I cover. When I'm asked to work different jobs, I work different jobs. When I'm asked to go to events, I cancel other events to go to those events. I am a very selfless teammate. In this case, I am going to be selfish.
I was going to say, you want me to let that go? I mean,
in this case, I am going to be selfish. I told the boss, I'm like, yo, I'm going to be taking that Wednesday off. All right.
So am I not going to be experiencing the things that I've been afraid of going to a secular concert? Am I not going to have to deal with certain smells? Am I not going to have to deal with drunken fights?
Secular concert.
That's what it is.
You secularist.
Yeah. Well, I could say some other things. Anyway, it's
devil worshippers in Scottsdale.
When I am amongst the pagans.
Yes, us heathens.
Yes.
Us unwashed masses.
Yes. Will I be okay? I get my look. I'm fine. All right. I'm going to blend well. So, I'm not worried about that.
Yes, Alonzo. It may come as a wonderful shock to you that not all of us are Satan worshiping, psychopathic, communist, Marxist losers.
See, you're going there. I'm more worried about fights. That's my biggest concern.
I have been to
because I don't move as well. Although I did move pretty well to hit that button a few seconds ago. I don't move as well, so I'm probably not getting out of the way if there is a melee, a brouhaha, a fracas. Probably not getting out of the way as fast as I need to.
There is no more likelihood of chaos happening at a Creed concert as there is anybody else's. I would also like to point out that the people that are most jacked about going to see Creed, we're in our 40s now.
Okay, but so
we ain't exactly throwing bows like we used to.
So if you're being you and being extra loud and some people are saying, hey man, I can't hear Scott, and dude wants to fight you, any of the 11 going to jump in like I would?
It's not going to happen.
Okay, because I will come out of my seat to come help you.
Anybody
I just don't want to, I mean, you know.
That has got the gas to go see Creed like I do, is also going to be jamming. All right.
I'm willing to lay down some cash that I'll be able to hear you while I'm in my seat and you're on the lawn.
Good chance.
Especially when I hope that Scott invites you up on stage.
Hello, my friend, we meet again. It's been a while. Where should we begin? I can't wait. So we've got Creed coming up. I will be covering ACC Media Day on Monday. I'll be covering ACC Media Day on Tuesday. I will not be covering it on Wednesday because I'll be sleeping it off in somebody's bathtub Wednesday morning to then get up Wednesday afternoon, drive back to Charlotte to stay the night Wednesday night, and then be there for Thursday for Clemson Day. And I'd like to go ahead. I probably should pop off the text to Don Munson, the voice of the Tigers now, and be like, listen, dude, I know you're not going to do it, but no judgment for my mental well-being on Thursday because I'm going to be somewhere between cloud nine and the gutter, and I don't know which one yet.
Yeah, Don will help you focus, so you'll be all right. I wonder how big of a bathtub does Keegan have? I mean, because you're a taller guy. I don't want you to be in the fetal and be all cramped up when you wake up the next morning. And,
when we come back, we'll be joined on the air by the voice.
Wait, Leslie says, Lonzo, you just need to go with arms wide open and enjoy.
Under the sunlight.
You know why I won't? Because if my arms are wide open, someone's going to want to hug me.
Welcome to. All right, when we come back, Willie P is the voice of Charlotte FC. We'll spend a few minutes talking with him about the football club of the Carolinas.
I thought you were going to say Creed.
Oh, we're 100% asking him his opinion on Creed as well. So we'll talk to Willie P about Creed, Charlotte FC, and then we'll do another segment with Will Pelagic talking about the Carolina Panthers and all that's going on up there in Charlotte, including the reaction to David Tepper asking for over $500 million to renovate the stadium. That's all coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, the live read, and we're back with Big Willie after that. Stay right there.
I don't know. Is he ready? Look at that. He snapped too. Like, oh, am I on?
What's up, big dog?
How are you guys?
Good, brother. How are you?
I can't complain, man.
I could, but nobody give a darn.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't care. Going to see my first secular concert.
Wait. Save it. We're asking him about Creed.
Okay. All right.
We got to talk about
Okay.
Creed.
All right.
The topic du jour.
I'm into it. it.
Not everyone's a Creed fan. I mean,
Everyone's a Creed fan. Some people just don't know it yet.
okay.
I wouldn't say that I have the level that you do, Rob, but
Very
I've
few do,
jammed
Willie
to
T.
Creed.
Very few do.
I've jammed to Scott Stapp a little bit.
Kobe.
Yeah, but the guitarist or bass player, which one?
Brian Marshall.
went-
Went to high school with him.
Yes. He has no idea who Rob is, probably.
Not at all.
But
It's like
there's
Chris
that.
Paul and T-Bone from our radio station.
Yes.
Although they
However,
claim to
you
be
better believe
teammates.
when we get closer, I'm 100% reaching out to their PR team to see if I can get them on the air.
Hey, why not? I mean, and you know why Mark's not upset about you going? He's going to be there.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, he'll be there. He may be on the stage introducing them.
I am.
You don't know.
I am missing a day of ACC Media Days in Charlotte to go see Creed. Right, and I told the boss yesterday, and I'm like,
which
listen,
day is which day are you missing?
I'm missing Wednesday, which is like Syracuse and Wake, and yeah, like it's not. The schedule shaped up real well for me.
They used to always throw you Dino Babers just as hey, we need to get him on somewhere.
They did all the way up through last year. I had Dino on last year, which was very awkward because I'm like, hey man, if you don't win 9, you're fired, right? And I don't know how to phrase that in a kind way.
Right. He was always nice. I mean, he was a nice interview.
He honestly was my favorite interview of
right,
the entire week.
Here we go.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the fan upstate, Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo. And now, joining us, and I think for the first time, showing his wonderfully handsome face live on the stream with us, which you can see at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate or the Rob Brown Show, and the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. He is the voice of Charlotte FC. He covers every sport you can think of in and around the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area, and a former fan upstater himself, Willie P. Will Pelagic, with us here on the show. What's up, big dog?
Rob, Lonzo, my guys. Hope you guys are doing well.
I mean, we sit in chairs and talk about soccer, football, baseball, and basketball for 4 hours a day, and we've convinced people it's a real job, Will. We're doing great.
Hey, I'm still fooling everybody. It's all good.
Let's not let the secret out yet. Shh. Yes, exactly right. So want to get into Charlotte FC. Big win over Atlanta, 3-2 full time. Got a little help from the ATL. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do, obviously, we've got to ask you the question that's on everybody's mind right now. You coming to see Creed with us in July? You are, right? You are.
I wish I could get down there. I don't know if I have as flexible of bosses as you do, because like you said before, it was in the middle of ACC Media Days, and while Wake is not in your coverage area, I think Wake is in ours. So unfortunately, I don't know if I can make it down there for it.
The schedule set, like every now and then, you look at your college football schedule or your NFL schedule, and you look in the middle, you get you a nice little 3-game window where it's like you got, I don't know, God, I hate to say Carolina tossed in the middle, but you got some teams of that, and you're like, all right, we get a little rest period. Like the schedule for that set up real well for me, and that the day I'm gonna miss to go see Scott Stapp and the boys is kind of the bottom dwellers that Clemson doesn't really particularly get all that concerned about, right?
Sure.
I'm missing. I don't care if they said Dabo himself will host the show with you that day. I gotta go see Creed, bud.
I don't know. Dabo and me for 4 hours together would be kind of fun. I'd be throwing him some word barbs like I used to back in the day, and that'd be interesting.
I love it. I love it. All right, my man. Let's talk a little footy here for just a minute, and let's go back. Let's just go ahead and jump right in with that 3-2 win over Atlanta. This is a Charlotte FC team right now that is sitting certainly in the top half of the MLS standing. 17 games played so far, 7-4-6, and a 25-point tally, which puts you 10 off of Miami, who have a cheat code in Leo Messi being down there, even if he is missing stretches of games. But it puts you within 8 points of the second place team, Cincinnati. For a team that, Willie P, it felt to me like expectations were maybe a little bit tempered coming into the season for the Crown. It's a pretty good run through the first portion of the season.
I think they were tempered, Rob, but I also think that they were ambitious, and that's part of the reason why they made the change that they did from Christian Lattanzio to Dean Smith. They basically had felt like they had gotten to a ceiling under the previous manager, and that's why they instilled somebody in Dean who they feel like can not only be here long term, but really instill a culture. And that's the thing I think they've been really trying to find over the course of the first couple of seasons. And I think they have it now with Dean. He's instilled a system that has made them very, very tough to beat. They've been very defensively sound, haven't always shown the best quality attacking and creative finishing, but I think a breakout game like you had on Sunday can show you the high point of what this team can be. Obviously, Atlanta is down in the table, but no one's denying their talent. I think that's the part of it, and then part of the reason why their manager Gonzalo Pineda got sacked on Monday morning is that their talent has been underperforming. They've got a guy in Yorgos Giacomakis who's going to be sold potentially for a $10 million sale point to Cruz Azul, and Thiago Almada, a former world champion. They need to be better than they are from a record standpoint. So I don't think anybody's looking at that particular result and spitting down at it, because going on the road and winning there, I know that it's been a place where a lot of teams have won there. In fact, 5 in a row, they've lost at home. But that's something you look at and say, hey, a tip your cap scenario for Charlotte, because they do not have very many road wins to speak of in their time, only 9 to be exact. So from that aspect, I think if you're Charlotte FC, you're feeling pretty good, because 17 games, like you said, Rob, is a nice line of demarcation right at halfway into the season, in the midst of a 13-day break now before their next 2 home matches against DC United and Orlando. I know that they want to see more consistency when it comes to scoring. Obviously, reinforcements are going to come during the summer transfer window because you only have one DP technically on the board. But right now, you got to be feeling very, very pretty right now if you're a fan of the black and blue.
We are talking to Will Pelagic, voice of Charlotte FC, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I did want to ask you about Dean Smith coming over. His son, Jamie, playing right here with the Greenville Triumph this year, and we had him on the show last week, and we talked to him a little bit about growing up, and part of the reason I asked him that was to kind of get a feel for Dean Smith. I have said for years that to grow this sport in America, one of the things that I suggest to people, Willie, is to not over-Europeanize American soccer, right? Like, they're not boots, they're cleats. It's not a pitch, it's a field. It's not a kit, it's a uniform. Use the terms that Americans are familiar with so don't feel like they're jumping in the deep end in this new sport. But I do think you kind of want to grab some of those European cultures that have excelled in football. And Dean Smith's been a big part of a lot of those in the Premier League at every level, every highest level across England and across Europe. So he has been, to me, I think, a bit of a revelation for Charlotte, in that you can still have that distinctly Charlotte culture around this club, but also bring the bits and pieces from Dean Smith's Premier League experience over to instill that in this club.
And I think Jamie also was I don't want to say the silver bullet, but I think he was the main recruiting tool when it came to bringing Dean over to the States. Dean was actually at a match during our inaugural season. He was at actually the first match that Christian Lattanzio managed, which was a clean sheet victory over New York Red Bulls. So from that perspective, he already had a window into what that culture looked like. He was over here visiting Jamie in between jobs and trying to figure out where he wanted to go next. So from that perspective, you're definitely looking at somebody who understands what it means to have soccer in this city, and obviously having Jamie, play not just in Greenville, but also up the road and obviously at NC State as well. He's got a lot of connection to this area, so much so that even Dean bought himself a little bit of a summer house down in Myrtle Beach. So he definitely has been coming to the Carolinas for a little bit here. And I also think too, while we do get every couple of weeks, a new word gets thrown out there from Dean, from his British vernacular. I've been doing that potentially for myself as well with my partner, Jessica Chalman. She'll usually throw down one or two that go by me and I'm not necessarily recognizing, but he's somebody who I feel like just 100% gets it. And he is a culture builder, and he is a person who wants to make sure that things run a certain way. For example, I'll give you this one. Charlotte FC last July brought up their new training facility / headquarters into Viewpoint. Got a lot of great attention across the soccer world, not just here, but abroad. And one of the things he did right away was he turned the auditorium that Charlotte FC had, that we do usually our press conferences, but usually to do all their film study. He turned the auditorium, he took the nameplate off the auditorium and turned it into what he called the learning zone, because he wants to foster that real sense of continued improvement, making sure that, their time is intentional in that room. So it really is just somebody who, again, I say it again, he just gets it. He knows how to make players better. He knows how to develop. It's something that was a reputational point of his, going all the way back to Aston Villa and Walsall and Brentford, and obviously, throughout his time in the Premier League and the EFL. And he's somebody who I feel like is in this for the long haul, which I think is incredibly encouraging to see from a Charlotte FC perspective.
We are talking with Will Pelagic, voice of Charlotte FC, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Let me kind of ask you a combo question there. Number one, as a broadcaster, as somebody who obviously has a vested interest in soccer, not just growing across Charlotte, but growing across the Southeast as a whole, where do you fall on finding the balance between kind of introducing the sport to new fans year after year, trying to do so in a way that they don't feel like, oh, it's too late, I can't learn all this stuff, it's over my head, but also kind of staying true to the roots and the culture and the lifelong fans that do kind of use that traditional, maybe European soccer lingo? Where do you find that balance, and how do you feel as Charlotte continues to grow that CFC has done in terms of bridging that gap between the big international soccer community and finding its place within the Carolinas?
Yeah, I think there's a balance you have to have. The soccer vernacular, I know a lot of people sometimes get annoyed with it. I know you mentioned it earlier, clean sheets versus shutouts and kits versus uniform. I kind of look at it as kind of being in a different country in an aspect sometimes, where, you go there, you try to at least, not mess up the furniture, speak the language, et cetera, and so on. But I also feel like you have to be careful not to gatekeep. You have to be sure that you kind of have to meet people where they are. And that's why I feel like our fan base is so unique, in that you have lifetime soccer fans who have had affiliations, whether it's at the USL level here locally, or elsewhere in the league if they had another team, if they were transplanted to Charlotte from another area. You have people who obviously are Premier League fans or Bundesliga fans, or fans from a South American perspective or Central American, Mexico as well. There's all kinds of different connections to this game. And the unifying factor is that it really is, from the city aspect and the two states aspect, it's that it's the team for this, it's the MLS team for this area. And I think the club has done a real good job of fostering that and playing to that. And it's through the supporter groups, very much so, but also through just the fact that, they have a lot of events that really get the players out with the people, and get the club out with the people. And if there's a big event that's happening in this city, Charlotte FC's got a tent there. They were out at the NASCAR race a couple of weeks ago. They're out at all kinds of different events, all throughout the city, and getting people out there. It's the point now, Rob, where the Charlotte FC shirt is the most is the shirt that I see most around now when it comes to walking around Charlotte. It's the jersey that I see worn most. People used to wear, Panther jerseys all the time, whether it was a weekend or things of that nature, or a Hornet jersey or a Hornet shirt. I'm seeing Charlotte FC stuff everywhere. I see people with Charlotte FC logos on their cars and on their license plate frames. It's something that's become pervasive. Is it an ending point? No, I think they want to continue to spread the word and make it feel like it is even bigger than it can even be now. But I do think that there has to be a particular sensitivity that people take, because I know that I get it from some people who are, very entrenched in the soccer media, where it's like, oh, why are these people calling them this, or why is this that? And I feel like you really can't do that, because I think at the end of the day, people do want to try. There are going to be some jack wagons out there who sit there and say, dude, there's no scoring in soccer. Why are you doing this? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you kind of have to take that where it is, take people at somewhat face value. But at the same point in time, I think, too, that there are a lot of people who genuinely love the time they have out there. And if anybody's ever on the fence, all I tell them is go to a match. It's 2 hours. You're in and out. The action is constant. The fun is there. You can feel the vibe. I still think it's the most exciting vibe we have in this city. And I know that I'm biased saying that, but I'm genuine when I say it, that I'm at every Panther game. I'm at every Hornet home game. There's nothing like a Charlotte FC home game right now.
I agree with everything you said, and also find it unironically hilarious that you just accidentally called Lonzo a jackwagon on the air.
It wasn't accidental.
I've called him worse.
He has, and probably will in the future. So
Will Pelagic is the voice of Charlotte FC. He's actually going to hang on with us into and through the next segment, because we want to talk. I got another couple of questions about Charlotte FC. And then I've got a bridge question over to Carolina. We'll talk a little bit about the Panthers and maybe a Hornet sprinkle in there just to get his thoughts on what this offseason looks like. Will Pelagic here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Back after this.
We like. All
right, guys, one more live reading. We're coming right back. Stay right there for me. All right, we back.
Sort of.
We back ish.
Ish.
Ish gets a lot of mileage in my life. I'm going to be real honest.
All good. Hope I wasn't too long with my answers there.
No, dude, it's great.
I didn't mean to call you a jackwagon, although I kind of did mean to call you a jackwagon.
It's okay. You know, back in the 1920s when that name was actually used, I probably would have been really offended. Just saying.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to keep you all FCC compliant.
I've already broken it once today, so don't worry about it.
Yes, he has. It's all
Whoa.
right.
No, that's not true. Kyrie Irving broke it once this morning.
It's all right. You need practice with the dump button every once in a while.
That's
and,
right.
you
I was
know,
just keeping
I got some earlier. Yeah.
on his toes. Where do you land? Just out of my own selfish curiosity, Will, where do you land on my philosophy of trying not to get too caught up in the traditional lingo and make it a little bit more familiar for people?
I still say brace for multiple goals. I'll say clean sheet because you have to remember I'm working with a Brit. So like if I say shutout, I used the word netminder the other day and she looked at me like I had 5 heads. So, you know, you kind of have to, again, you meet people where they are. So it kind of comes down to that.
So I totally agree with that, right? Like there are guys in the riot that are old school football fans and they use the vernacular. It's their boots and it's a pitch and all that. And if I'm talking to exclusively them, I will absolutely use that. My thing is always like if I take somebody to their first match, they're not a big soccer guy, I get them to come to a match with me for the first time. If I'm talking to that person, it's a field, they're cleats, it's a uniform, it's a shutout, whatever, to try to make them feel more comfortable with the game until I can get them latched on.
I'm totally with you on that. Like I said, that's basically my philosophy is you got to, if someone's willing to dip their feet all the way in and, you know, go all in like that, then you can do that. But I think, you know, to be out there and being like, it's a kid, what the hell are you doing? Like you're not helpful right now.
All right. As a well-known jackwagon, I'm offended by any vernacular that's not American. Hey Rob, can we add jackwagon to my
Hell yeah.
To my labels?
Ladies and gentlemen, the great one Lonzo, the alpha and the omega of the fan upstate, the content cash cow, the wizard of wave, the professor of perfection, and jackwagon in chief, Lonzo. I'm good with it. Willie P making his influence on the Rob Brown Show. I like that. Will Pelagic is the voice of Charlotte FC. He is also a former upstater and fan upstater joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the fan upstate. I got one or two more for you, Will, about Charlotte, and then I want to transition over to your thoughts on where the Carolina Panthers are with OTAs taking place, etc. As far as Charlotte goes, currently sitting 5th on the table, 25 points, 4 back of New York Red Bulls right now. You mentioned it a minute ago. And that is, this is a team that is hard to score on, but it is also a team that is maybe not offensively getting the number of goals they like. The goal differential is 0 right now. Same with Toronto FC, but then you look 2 spots back to Columbus Crew, a team that is behind Charlotte FC, +8 in the goal differential. 3 games back, Philadelphia Union, +4. You look up the table, Red Bulls and New York City FC, +7. So is Cincinnati. Again, I'm kind of throwing Inter Miami out right now with Leo Messi down there playing. They are +15 on the goal differential. Is that something that Dean Smith is working on right now? I know it's kind of a defensive-minded team and built team right now, but as we get into the second half of the season, will we start to see an emphasis on getting more into the back of the net for Charlotte?
Well, they're trying. I mean, I think that's the one thing, you know, I don't think Dean Smith had his intentions on there being, you know, the American football equivalent of 3 yards in a cloud of dust and, you know, wait for a moment of brilliance. So I do think that they do want to play and also they also want to try and score as well. And I think the real I think, telling point is that Dean Smith said on Wednesday in the 3-1 loss to New York Red Bulls, they probably created the most chances and best chances that he had seen them create. They just didn't make them. And that's the part of it that I feel like, Charlotte has been a little bit unlucky. I don't like to get into too many of the fancy stats, but their expected goals differential is somewhere, it's been kind of hovering around the 4-5 range in the minus category. So Charlotte FC should potentially, if you're going by those, have 4 or 5 more goals just based on, sheer luck and quality. So from that perspective, you can take that for what it's worth. Obviously, doesn't mean anything on the score sheet or in the standings, but it does at least show you that they are creating chances. I think, again, the way that they scored their goals against Atlanta came back to the fact that they knew how to press off the counter, and they had that brilliant player like Liel Abada to take and make those chances. The unfortunate part is that he's the only one of those guys that they have right now, and they will have basically until July 18th to kind of have to go through that period without any reinforcements. We did get the rumor yesterday that the defense is going to get bolstered potentially with the adding of U.S. men's international Tim Ream potentially. That was a report out there. Of course, he played at Fulham over the last couple of seasons. He is 36 years old. He'll be 37 in October. So that's not what I would call a long-term play, but he's somebody who's still playing at a pretty high level. So that's at least something you could say is very much established. But I know Zoran Krneta, the general manager, is out there trying to find a creative attacking midfielder that can be there as that number 10, potentially some reinforcements for Patrick Agyemang up top at the number 9 position, and also potentially some more depth pieces to make sure that Charlotte FC can close out matches when they need to, because that was the big problem last year, Rob, is that, we'd get these leads and they would drop points. They had 25 points dropped from winning positions a year ago, more than anybody in MLS. This year, they have been much more fundamentally sound. A lot of that due to their veterans that they can bring off the bench and guys who know how to close out matches. It's become a much more easy time of it in the latter stages of contests than it was at any point last year.
Will Pelagic here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate as far as eyes toward the postseason. And I know, again, we're at the half-ish way point at this point. There's a lot of football left ahead of Charlotte FC, but I know after last year, bit of a disappointing end with a lot of optimism going into an uphill battle in the playoffs, sitting in that 5 spot right now in the MLS standings. Are the postseason hopes starting to grow a little bit for Charlotte compared to what they were last year?
Oh, they definitely are. And it all is, again, like you said, at the point of the table where you're starting to kind of see the cream rise to the top and teams start to separate. I always tell people Father's Day is the area of time where you look and you can say, okay, these teams are pretty good. These teams are not pretty good. And there's a lot of teams that are basically in the middle. And that's kind of where Charlotte FC is. I would say Charlotte FC is on that tier that's right below that top slot that you had Miami in. Cincinnati's there too as well, although we did draw with Cincinnati. So there is that to point out. But the one thing that is very critical from Charlotte FC's perspective, they only have 3 home games between now and the League's Cup break. They'll play 2 of them right off the bat. And then they have a stretch of 5 out of 6 away from home. I've talked about how this team has struggled away from home. Teams typically do that in MLS, but Charlotte FC has done so especially. It's going to be incredibly paramount for Charlotte FC over the course of this next stretch to get results. And again, that all falls in the phase before the transfer window hits. Transfer window hits on July 18th. They'll play their last Leagues Cup game on July 22nd. So our last game before Leagues Cup, I should say, before the July 22nd against Austin. So 7 of those contests will be with this same roster. So if you are Charlotte FC right now and you have a lot of those games away from home, not only does it mean that the home games need to be victories, you got to get a couple of those road victories as well. And there are some teams out there. And by the way, that third home game, it's Inter Miami. So that's the part of it that is a little bit more difficult. The one thing that might be more palatable for Charlotte FC is it might not include Messi because of Copa America, but you might still have Jordi Alba. You might still have Luis Suarez. You might still have Busquets. So all these guys will still be back for Inter Miami. The fact of the matter is that while it's looking very optimistic right now for Charlotte FC, they are about to enter in their toughest stretch of the regular season. And there were some drop points earlier this year that they might want back given what this stretch will look like. But I have a feeling that what they saw on Sunday, how they played on Sunday, is a nice chance to try and roll that snowball down the hill and get yourself some positive results and hopefully not lose too much ground or tread water, so to speak, until the time where you can actually reinforce the club.
All right, we got a couple more minutes here with Will Pelagic, voice of Charlotte FC, and I kind of want to ask a bridge question, and then we'll hit you with one or two about the Panthers on the way out of the door here, Will Pelagic. David Tepper, taken a lot of heat the last couple of years from Carolina Panther fans. There's been a lot of discussion about the behavior as an owner of an NFL club. I find myself in a weird spot as somebody who supports both of these clubs because it has felt to me like he's actually been a real good owner for Charlotte FC. I mean, he's very clearly invested in this MLS side. He's very clearly invested. In fact, this $650+ million he's requested for stadium upgrades for BOA. I made the point on the show yesterday, not just is BOA the home of the Panthers, it's also obviously, and he's taken some heat for the way he's phrased it, but it is a phenomenal music venue. But it is also home to a Charlotte FC team that plays more games annually in it than the Panthers do. And as of the last year, brings more fans than the Carolina Panthers do. It's a justified ask of David Tepper. So from the fans in Charlotte, how do CFC fans view David Tepper as an owner in contrast to the heat that he's been taking from Carolina Panther exclusive fans?
Well, I think honestly the viewpoint is very positive from them. And I think there's this sense that he kind of lets Charlotte FC run on its lonesome. Not that he doesn't have input, but that he really does let kind of Joe LeBou from the business side on the president's side and Zoran Kaneda, the GM, really be the ones who dictate the policy. And David's got an office in the Charlotte FC facility, so let's not say that it's completely absentee on that. But I do feel like while he has input and he is briefed on a lot of those things, I think he maybe takes a step back and says to, hey, these guys, you are the experts. Go out, find what you need to do, and we can obviously have some critical discussions about those things, and those things do happen. I think he takes the same approach, honestly, on the NFL side. It just hasn't always hit from a hitting percentage perspective. So I think from that perspective, some people might have it a little bit misunderstood. But I think from the Charlotte FC fan perspective, the reaction is incredibly positive. He's out there before games waving to fans and people are cheering him. It's a much different scenario for him as the Charlotte FC owner. He was there with folks at a couple of these road games as well, giving them their support and thanking them for coming out there. So I understand from the stadium aspect, people will balk at the number, but all these things are public-private partnerships anyway. Especially in the National Football League, only 3 stadiums are fully privately financed and finalized, and 2 of those came because of multiple team partnerships too. So I don't even know if those even count. The only one that's a true single team entity is Foxborough, and that's Robert Kraft. So from David Tepper's aspect, I think he's done well to not ask for any more new money and no new taxes. The fact that it's a tax that's already in place, that's very much earmarked for stadium improvements. Like, that's the part of it that's interesting, is that this particular tax that's being used for the upgrades, the only things that it can be used for is amateur sports and Bank of America Stadium. So from that perspective, I think it's all right. They'll be responsible for the upkeep of the stadium here on out, and it'll keep the Panthers and Charlotte FC here for at least the next 15 to 20 years, and it'll bring some much-needed improvements, particularly to the back of the house, but also things that fans will see as well, including what I'm very much looking forward to is that big screen out in the on the Mint Street side that's on the renderings. If you've seen that, that's going to be a great gathering space for a lot of people for road games, which will be something that I feel like this city sorely misses. You see Deer City with Milwaukee Bucks, in the postseason, things of that nature. I think that'll be really, really good to see for us here in our city.
I love it. Well, Pelagic, all right, 60-second answer. Your just thoughts overall on where the Carolina Panthers are in the offseason.
A lot of positivity around Dave Canales. Obviously, they've fortified a lot of the offense around Bryce Young. It's all about whether or not the kid can make it happen. Also, whether or not the defense can be back at that same level. Obviously, because of the fact that they've had some issues trying to get themselves all that productivity. I'm very curious to see how it works out, but they've brought themselves a lot of optimism during this offseason. We'll see if it works out.
Bryce Young entering his rookie year this year. Real excited to see that play out.
Stop it.
I am. Will Pelagic is the voice of Charlotte FC. Joins us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Dude, we got to do this like way more often, brother.
I'm up for it, man. Appreciate it.
I like it. Will Pelagic here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. We got to run to a break. We'll come back. Hayden Ass Mario from the BetQL Network talks NBA Finals next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Before Mario, his counterpart, the only man with potentially better hair in the production business, is the great one, Lonzo.
Got to throw T2 in there too, but yeah, I'd say Mario's is probably better. Former Carolina Panther turned San Francisco 49er Christian McCaffrey signed an extension that will keep him in the Bay City for 2 more years. The new contract will pay McCaffrey around $19 million per year through 2027 and guarantees roughly $24 million up front. McCaffrey was responsible for 2,023 yards from scrimmage and 21 total touchdowns last year. That's a lot. I don't know if you knew that. It's a whole lot. The Boston, yeah, they do. The Boston Celtics have announced that center Kristaps Porzingis will officially be available for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Porzingis said his leg is still not 100% after a calf strain 5 weeks ago, but Porzingis has been practicing since last Friday, and they'll finally play tomorrow night. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole, Bryson, and Deez will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news, great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire. Hopefully we'll have Will back on again soon, James, and you can ask him then.
Baby, 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 when you hold me like this.
Really?
I don't know.
Really?
I
mean,
don't know.
I know you didn't hear that in the
I don't
restroom.
know.
I know you didn't.
I don't know.
Because we don't have that
I
station
don't
with
know
us
where I
anymore.
heard it.
So
I don't know where it entered my day, but it entered my day
Did you
somewhere.
send Mario a thing?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And
All
now
right.
it's stuck.
Now it's in my head. What is wrong with you?
It's all coming back to me.
And then I just
now.
realized who it was. Oh, it's even worse.
There were things I'd never do again, but then they always seemed right.
Overly skinny Canadians.
There were nights of endless pleasure.
Oh, I'm glad you stopped after that.
Baby, 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 when you hold me like this, and when you kiss me like that. It was so long ago, but it's all coming back It's all coming back.
Really?
All
You're bringing it
coming
onto
back
the air.
to me now. I don't know where the hell Celine Dion entered my day.
We need a no
But she
Canada,
did.
no Canada policy.
No, I'm
here.
not doing that.
Nothing from Canada.
I'm not doing that.
Okay, nothing.
Canada's a beautiful country.
Is it? You ever
It's a
been there?
beautiful country. I'm not. My brother's been there. He said it was awesome.
Okay, all right.
A Florida man wearing only a lady's top crashed his car into the lobby of a police station and started throwing rubber snakes at police officers.
What was the color of the top?
I haven't gotten there yet.
I mean, that's kind of
It's-
important.
I'm gonna spend like a solid amount of time over the next few minutes ignoring everything Mario says to look up the rest of that story. I think, though, we'll find out. Joining us now on the show to spend a couple of segments with us as well. Why? Because the next time we talk tomorrow, we'll be like 4 games deep into the NBA Finals. So let's just get it all out on the table now. He was the executive producer of Bet for the Cycle.
Hey, look at the background right there.
On the BetQL Network.
Look at that background.
Hey, you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
You know what that is? Because he is now based not in the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. Instead, he now threatens the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. as the former executive producer of Bet for the Cycle turned EP of their crown jewel show, BetMGM Tonight on the BetQL Network. He is an NBA analyst for the BetQL Network as well. He is, and he shall never stop being, hating ass Mario Heron, who I have to give him credit, great one. Left the apartment or dumpster, whatever he's living in, that he is not even decorated yet, to go to the BetQL studios to jump on the stream instead of be on the phone with us today. Mario Heron.
Wait, Mario. He's already got a better beard than you. How's that even
Shut
possible?
up.
Look
dude.
at that. Look at that.
What
thing.
is wrong with you today?
Look at that.
His absolute peach fuzz of a I just hit puberty beard, like he might get there, but he
Jealousy.
ain't
Do you hear
there.
the jealousy, Mario? That's definitely jealousy.
It is the jealousy. And it's also a lot too, Lonzo. All my shaving stuff is with my movers that haven't came yet. So riding this puppy out until they get here.
Hey, you know you're fancy when you have movers.
Hey, Mario's got to get a tattoo on his ass.
Wow.
Okay.
Just
Not
to-
that-
is
that
this,
in.
this how you're
Uh-huh.
His beard is still better than you. I mean, you can point
First
that
off,
out.
it's not. Second off, my ass will remain tattooless. How you feeling about that?
As
bud?
far as we know.
Not
I
good.
mean, and I don't want to. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you.
I would. I just don't want to turn on the ladies of America
Is
this
that-
early in the
is
morning.
that it? So your
Yeah.
voice
That's
doesn't
fair.
do it for him?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Can't
Uh,
flare up.
No, absolutely can't. Absolutely can't.
What kind of flare up? I mean,
Stop it.
They make,
Stop
they
it.
make ointment
What-
for that.
What have you gotten into today? Great one. We're talking to Mario here, and we'll talk a little NBA Finals coming up here in a minute. But aside from having to get not just a tattoo on the rear, he's got to get a tattoo of his own show logo on the rear. And Mario, on top of that, I have 3 lovely little numbers for you. 999. You're on a bit of a cold streak right now, pal.
Listen, I'm on a cold streak. I've slept on the floor the past 3 nights. It is not looking great right now. Hey, we thrive, baby. We thrive. We thrive when we're backs against the wall and all we can do is swing out of it. We're like Muhammad Ali, baby. We come out swinging. So, hey, what are you going to do? Looking forward to the 999 challenge. It looks like it's going to be a good time. Looks like it's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. Let's get it going.
I mean, you got to go to a Nationals game for it.
So the counter to that is what's around like the National Stadium. Pretty fun. Just can't really got to be schedule out what we can do there and create a good strategy for it. But hey, looking forward to it.
For the record, I actually have heard that Nats games are a real good time. Like
They're a
team
great
might
time.
suck, but I've heard they're a lot of fun.
I highly recommend if you haven't gone. They're a lot of fun.
You know what I just realized, Mario, is as you get set, because Saturday is going to be your last day on Bet for the Cycle as the full-time producer. Do you know who happens to be in town Thursday and Friday to play the Nats?
The Atlanta Braves?
That is correct. You could go watch the Bravos play a little baseball while you knock down 9 dogs, 9 brewskis in 9 innings.
Wouldn't be that bad of a deal. That the only downside is that could be when we're on air, and if I do that and then also be on air, I will probably lose my job.
I want you to know, I might text Andrew after the show and be like, listen, I know it's his first week on the show, but Mario needs a day off because we still got him for Saturday.
Hey, we'll see. But hey, until then, NBA Finals and holy storylines, by the way.
Yeah.
Holy storylines.
Let's jump right into it. Let's have a conversation that Lonzo and I were having earlier.
I just want to say, way to steer it back to where it needed to be.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
Way to go,
Pretty good.
Mario.
Mario only got this promotion because of me. I taught him everything he knows. All right. Let's talk about a storyline that the Great One and I were talking about earlier in the show here, Hate and Ask Mario, and that is Kyrie and the return to Boston. Obviously, a lot of drama when Kyrie left Boston a couple of years back when he made his return to the Garden. He gave them the old two-finger salute in response to the jeers and leers that he took from Celtics fans. Then he does this press conference this week where he's like, I've learned how to compartmentalize my emotions and separate how I feel from my activities on the court. And, I was a 19-year-old kid and I never really learned how to act. And now I've grown up a lot, et cetera, et cetera. A, do you buy it? And B, whether it is true or false, and he is either legitimately grown as a player or is just pretending like he has, what impact does that have on the NBA Finals?
I think he really has changed in terms of that. I know through listening to a lot of people talk about it and also talking to people kind of behind the scenes for the Mavs, that it was a big effort for Jason Kidd to kind of understand Kyrie and kind of talk to Kyrie about this is when to send a message you want to send and this is when not to, right? Not really making Kyrie change, but more having him adapt and do what's best for the team and to kind of be a better leader. And Kyrie's been that so far, right? If he wouldn't have been like that, then they wouldn't be where they are right now in the NBA Finals. And, we kind of talk about who the most important guy is for every team. Who's the X factor? We're always looking for, there's always Luka and Jason Tatum that obviously have to play well, and, Jaylen Brown. And you're always like, all right, but who's that guy that if he doesn't play well, they're not going to be successful? I think it's Kyrie. I think it a lot weighs on Kyrie's shoulders of one, how the team responds to being down in game 1, to being down in game 4, maybe being down in the series 2-0 after being in Boston. I go back home to Dallas because of all those guys on that roster. He's the most experienced. He has an NBA championship. And, Kidd, obviously, he played in a championship and won one, but he also hasn't coached in one, right? So it's going to be a little bit different for him. A lot weighs, I think, on Kyrie. And I'm not saying that he needs to average 25 to 30 points per game in order for them to win. But I think he needs to be as level-headed as possible because that locker room's looking at him to lead them to this title and not anyone else.
It is interesting. By the way, before I get to the second follow-up question, you nailed the pronunciation of Muhammad Ali, and we're all very, very proud of you. And then Chris in the chat said, can you do Rocky's last name next?
Rocky Bambola.
It's been 4 weeks, Mario. It's been 4 weeks.
I've been sleeping on the ground.
Balboa.
Been sleeping on the ground.
I actually accept that. I've been there before. Granted, it was because of Goldschlager in college, but I've been there before. So
do they not have air mattresses? Do you not have, I mean, you're actually sleeping on the ground, or,
okay, first off, that's a little pricey. I'm not paying money for that. I'd rather just ride it out.
Okay.
Just ride it out, Lon.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ride it out.
So as far as Kyrie goes.
So you're saying radio on the national level is just as bad as radio on the local level?
He's not there yet. He starts today. He's not there. He ain't made it. He's just made it, but he ain't made it. As far as Kyrie goes, to take it from the philosophical into the on the court angle of Kyrie's game, Dallas has won, to me, Mario, for 2, maybe 3 reasons on the court. Jason Kidd deserves flowers, and we'll give them to him coming up here in just a minute. But it is the lively Gafford ability to rotate 7-footers in and out, which I think is huge with Kristaps Porzingis, who, by the way, still has not practiced 100% yet, and the game is tomorrow. But second is Kyrie not just understanding his role on this team is to be a supplemental player for Luka Doncic, but actually doing it. There's a lot of guys that realize the role on the team, but they just can't fall into it. Kyrie has learned that he's got to be a supplement to Luka, not the other Luka. You're not the other guy. You are Luka's supplemental player. That to me is what Dallas has brought Dallas to the NBA Finals.
And just look back, I mean, to the Cavs days, right? Like the rumor, like the issue was with Kyrie that he wanted to be the guy and wanted to be his team and not LeBron's team anymore. And he was kind of getting sick of that. Fast forward to 2024, and now he's fine with kind of taking the second chair to Luka and being like, all right, you get the ball with 1 minute left. You get the ball starting the game. We're going to run this set for you. I want to be in the corner. Like, I'm going to set a ball screen for you to get open. Like, there's little things that he's willing to do now that I don't think he would have been willing to do with the Cavs, maybe even with the Celtics. And I mean, that Nets team was a disaster. No one liked anyone on that team. So I think the other thing, and you kind of mentioned that, the very interesting part is that Gafford and Lively, like both healthy. That's going to be really hard for the Celtics if KP's not healthy, because that's Al Horford competing with two very young guys. That's hard for Horford. Won a college championship when I was still learning how to pee in a toilet. That's how old Al Horford is. So you're going to lean on him to play a lot of heavy minutes and to play a lot of big minutes if KP's not fully there. I think that's a little bit worrisome. I also think that, Rob, just gambling-wise with Kyrie, I think game 2 is the game where we see the Kyrie game. I think that's it too. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this as well. If you're the Boston Celtics, the rumor is like the matchup is going to be Drew Holiday on Kyrie and then a Jaylen Brown or Tatum on Luka, kind of switch off, if you will, on that side of the court. Do we ever see Holiday go to Luka? And then two, can Kyrie dominate his matchup with Holiday? Because I know that it's like a bad matchup for Kyrie, but I think in certain games, that could really work for him, especially because Holiday got burnt against Jimmy Butler last year. I can kind of see Kyrie doing the same.
I'll go with this. First off, I love Drew Holiday. I've loved Drew Holiday for years. Drew Holiday is one of my favorite players in the league because he is absolutely a slap the floor and play some damn defense kind of guy, but he's also capable of going to get you 14 or 16. If the scoring is slow and you just need another piece involved, he can be that guy. I love Drew Holiday. He might be one of the best 2 or 3 on-ball defenders in the NBA, and there is a 0% chance because of that I don't have that guy locked up on Luka. I'm not saying he can stop Luka Doncic. I'm saying if I can keep Luka Doncic to 20 points, 22 points, 24, I feel a hell of a lot better with my chance to win. And even though you are right, he is a guy that can remove Kyrie from the game. I'd rather have rotating guys on Kyrie out there for the secondary reason of I don't really want to feel like I'm ever going to give Kyrie any sort of motivation to go above and beyond this game. And while he might get that when Tatum lines up on him, okay, you're the guy that replaced me. Let me show you why that was a mistake. Or Jaylen Brown, all right, you're the guy that they wanted to replace me and you can't do it, whatever. That's all well and good. Even if Kyrie pops off for 35 or 36, if Drew Holiday can keep Luka Doncic to 20, Boston wins every game.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. Like, might as well take one of the two popping off. Like, if you had to kind of roll on and kind of fight back and forth with which one you rather give. Because in the NBA, there's no shutting anyone down anymore, right? It's just about limiting their success. And, if you're going to let Kyrie go off, I would let Kyrie go off. Kyrie want to average 40 points in this series, go ahead, go do it, because that means Luka's not going to get those shots. But I also think Kyrie is smart enough now, and like to the point of his growth as a player, he knows that, hey, if I score, 35 plus, that means Luka's probably not getting in as many shots, as many chances, and we're going to lose this game, because he knows at this point in his career too, like Kyrie is a great player, can shoot, can pass the ball. Luka is arguably the best player in the NBA right now. It all goes through him. If he's successful, the team is gonna win the NBA championship. They're going to. In this series, Rob, he is the best player in the series. And that's why it's very hard for me to go against the Mavs, because in the NBA, it's nothing's more true than whoever has the best player, they're probably going to win. And right now, Luka is the best player, probably best player in the world, especially if he pulls this off. Celtics want to limit his success and let Kyrie go off, but Kyrie is too smart to not. It's literally a game of chess, right? They want him to go off because then Luka is going to settle down. But Kyrie's smart enough to know I can't go for 30 because then that means other guys are limited. I can't do that. I got to get everyone else involved. And then PJ Washington's going to have a game where he hits 8 threes. I'm going to punch a hole through the wall because I can't stand PJ Washington.
If Kyrie gets 30, 32, 36 like he did in the elimination game, it's got to be because he shot 75% from the floor, right?
Yeah,
like I can't have Kyrie get 36, but it took him 27, 28 field goal attempts to get there. I need him to get to 36 because he shot 75% and was deadly from the short corner whenever they were peeling off defenders to go get Luka. I am all good with that. If Kyrie's being efficient and he gets 36, I'm fine with an efficient 36. What I can't do is have Kyrie putting up a ton of extra field goal attempts because he's shooting 42% from the floor and wants 36. It's got to be, if he gets 36, he gets 36, not he's forcing 36. And that, to me, is the series for Dallas.
And it's going to be interesting, too, to see how the Celtics kind of guard their pick and roll as well. Like, no one does the pick and roll more than the Mavericks just because Luka is so efficient off it, and so is Kyrie. So how do the Celtics handle that, right? Like, you're obviously going to get a switch at one point. How are you going to do drop coverage? Like, are you going to try to blitz them off that? Like, what are you going to do kind of disrupt that pick and roll? And this Mavs offense, like, they faced the number 1 defense, number 4 defense right before facing the Celtics. And the Celtics defense is legit in the playoffs. Yeah, they're 3rd right now in defensive rating just in the playoffs. I believe on the season, they were like top 5. I'm sorry, not even top 5. They're number 1. So they're going to have a test for themselves in this, but they've gone through tougher defenses and they've, able to pull through. And Celtics defense has taken a dip, even when they haven't faced anyone close to the Mavericks yet. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see it. I think the X factor too for the Celtics that we haven't really mentioned yet is Derek White, man. Like what does Derek White do in this series? Because if Derek White can give you what I call a classic Derek White game where you're like, God, you'd be a number 1 option on like a Charlotte Hornets type of team, to be honest. If we get a couple of those games too, like that could really hurt the Mavs because the Mavs, as much as Luka and Kyrie are great, PJ Washington, you're going to have to pitch in some and you're going to have to have, some big shots get hit. They're going to need guys to kind of come in and give them great numbers, great stats, and, Lively Gafford get some blocks on the board and get some boards, and we'll see what happens. But I'm cheering for the Celtics, by the way. Screw the Mavs.
Yeah, we can tell. Let's take a quick break. Mario going to stick with us for one more segment. When we come back here in just a minute, we will talk about some of the aspects of this game, going down to the coaching matchup between Mazzulla and Kidd, getting into some of the role and reserve players. We continue a deep dive of the NBA Championship Finals with Mario Herron, NBA analyst from BetQL Network, here on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You talking to him? You turn it off?
No, you can leave it on. No. Mario, do I need to Venmo you some money to go get like a sleeping bag or something, bud?
Nah, dude, it's it's on soft carpet. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
No. But it's just like, well, it's like, how when you move and there's just like little annoying things that you just like forget about and you're like it's just like oh crap, I don't have any food here. God, I don't have to eat out again. You know what I mean? Like it's just little stuff like that. Or I'm like, gosh darn it.
Yup. When I moved here, the first week that I was here, so I moved here, I got an apartment sight unseen before I moved here. Like didn't have pictures of it, nothing. I just kind of rolled the dice on it. But when I got here, like the first night I got here, everything I owned was in the back of a U-Haul, and I got here the night before I worked my first show the next day. And so like the first 2 days, I was kind of in the same boat. It was like I basically got my couch and slept on a couch for a couple of days just to be in yes, I get it. When does your stuff show up?
So it was supposed to come. Well, that's the other thing too. Like I probably should have taken a day off and figured everything out. And I just didn't. Like that was like my dumbest. I thought I could do both, and I just can't. So the stuff was supposed to come Monday morning, and then they called me and they got like a fender bender, and I was just like, dude. So I was like, hey, listen, like I get it, but it's like that's not really my problem, you know? Like,
yeah,
come on.
I kind of need my stuff.
Yeah. So they're like, listen, it's gonna be a delay. You know, we'll keep in contact with you. We're taking money off or whatever. And I was like, yeah, like you're gonna take a lot of money off. Like I was pissed. And then so they were supposed to come either today or like early tomorrow morning. I was like, all right.
We got to work on your bionic elbow form.
I didn't want to get too close. You might have freaked out. So, I mean, you know, you might, if you moved back, you would have got hit with the points. You don't want the points. Remember, I've told you that I have crystals in my elbows thanks to severe gout. So we might see color if you backed up. That means blood if you're not. If you don't know wrestling.
Lonzo threatening to open me up there.
I did.
Rob, I also have you for 7:20 today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. You tell me when to be there, and I'll be there, dog.
Wow, is that how that works?
It is for
money.
For most people.
Yeah, there's
Correct.
money involved. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
The easiest way to get me to show up to a place on time is pay me for it. I don't feel bad about that. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Got about 10 more minutes here with Hate Ass Mario Herron from the BetQL Network and NBA analyst, the former executive producer of Bet for the Cycle from noon to 4 on the BetQL Network. And as of today, are you jumping on today officially?
Yeah, I've been on. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I was with you like literally last.
I was about to say. Yeah, I was with you twice.
Yeah, his memory is not. I don't know if you noticed. It's not. Yeah, it's. Yeah.
I know what you want. I'll never forget that Mario has a tattoo of his own face on his butt. Moving forward, that's fun. Never forget that. Highlight career highlight.
That's a weird thing to be thinking of, you know. And
I'm gonna tell you,
you know, and as you're drifting to sleep,
he's got to get the tattoo on the air.
So
it's gonna be so hard to do.
That is. It is. Hey Mario, what do you think about the Cubs this week?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Show, Tug?
It's gonna be radio greatness.
Does it hurt more in tender spots?
Yes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had a tattoo, so I don't know.
This one probably.
So now we know that he
well,
has tattoos in tender spots because you heard how he.
No,
answered
listen.
it.
I got two. I got one on the back. I got one on the inside of the arm.
Tramp
I'm ready
stamp.
for another one.
He's got a tramp stamp.
Do not have a tramp stamp.
That sounds like a tramp stamp.
Mario was going to have to get a tramp stamp. We talked him into the butt though. That at least saved him a little bit. Role players. You mentioned Derek White. Not that Derek White is a role player. Derek White's a very good player. You mentioned he'd be the best player on probably 12 teams around the rest of the association. I don't disagree. But I look at what Dallas has gotten out of guys like PJ Washington that have stepped up and hit in some big moments. I don't think I'm bending anything sideways, Mario, to say that Boston's a deeper team. But I think the spots where Dallas is stacked, which includes at the big man spot, being able to rotate Gafford and Lively, I think those spots matter a lot for Dallas. So if this game comes down to, let's say, Jason and Jalen and Kyrie and Luka, let's say that's a wash between the stars of both teams, and it does come down to the second and third levels of players, who's got the edge?
I still give it a little bit to the Celtics, honestly. Like, I still give it there just because I think their second unit, well, one, because of honestly how dominant they've been this past year, their second unit, like, terms of guys actually saw more minutes than probably any other guys in the NBA. I'm a big Peyton Pritchard guy. I trust him in key moments. I think he can kind of be a rally guy too for the Boston, where like he's that energy bunny that comes off the bench, where you need a different set of pace, you need a different set of tone, and maybe you're down 8 and the starters aren't doing it, and you put him in there and you go, just create energy, get the crowd going in Boston, get the team back up. That's what Peyton Pritchard can be. That's where I kind of give the edge to Boston. Now, Mavericks, though, I think a lot ways, you mentioned the big man thing, and I do think that's really important, especially if, KP's not 100%, which it sounds like he is not. It's going to be hard for him to kind of handle this traffic of Gafford and Lively coming at him. By the way, if anyone wants to listen back, I was really right about Derek Lively being pretty beneficial for the Dallas Mavericks, but that's a story for a different day. The other person that I'd watch out for, though, is Derek Jones Jr. And why I say that is because he was on my beloved Chicago Bulls last year, and every time he came onto the floor, one, he's a highlight play waiting to happen that can always impact the game, right? That always gets a crowd back in the game. And two, he is every 2-3 wing guard's worst nightmare. He's pesty. He's going to bother you. He's going to annoy the living crap out of you. You need that in the NBA Finals. He was going to dive on the floor. He's going to make life a little bit harder for Tatum and Brown. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but once Tatum's off, he can't really turn it back on. Derek Jones Jr. keeps him just a little bit off. That really benefits the Dallas Mavericks in this series a lot. So watch out for him to kind of be the thorn in the Celtics and be that little annoying guy that you just can't stand.
If you asked right now, if you'd asked me going into these playoffs, who's got the coaching edge, Dallas or Boston, Jason Kidd or Joe Mazzulla? Going into the playoffs, I honestly would have said, I don't really know that there is one. I don't know if I trust either one of these two guys. And that's not to say either one of them isn't capable. I just don't know that anything jumped off the page as this guy's definitely the guy that gives you the edge there. But the deeper we've gone into these playoffs, I'm not going to say Joe Mazzulla can't. I'm just saying I don't think Joe Mazzulla's had to. I think his team's just been able to outperform, out-talent everybody. Whereas whether you go back to the Clippers series or the Thunder series or the Timberwolves series, Jason Kidd has been working the levers like a pro. Jason Kidd's been working the levers like Phil damn Jackson did back in the day. The offense has been phenomenal. Defensively, this team has been able to take Karl-Anthony Towns out of the game. It's been able to take Chet Holmgren out of the game. Jason Kidd has been a wizard, and I don't think that Joe Mazzulla has been tested yet. Do you think there's a coaching edge for Dallas in this one?
I think there's a little bit of a coaching edge, and it's just funny because I remember last year talking to a Mavs insider, and I remember he told me, he goes, you know what Kidd yells on the sidelines? I go, what? He goes, do something. That's what he yells. Because anytime you hear a coach say that, they're in trouble. And now we fast forward a year later, he's in the NBA Finals, and you just put him in the same sentence as Phil Jackson. Just crazy how much things can change in a year. Joe Mazzulla has benefited from a lot, right? He's benefited from taking over a really, really talented team. He's benefited from facing a Rick Carlisle who's just fell apart in closing games, and he's really benefited from that. I don't think he's going to get that from Kidd. I think Kidd's going to really tighten that up in close games. I think he's proven that he can make adjustments on the fly, and he can keep his team very, very calm, and he can keep his team very, really composed and able to navigate these tough situations. I give the slight edge to Kidd, but I will say this. Mazzulla, since he hasn't had that pressure yet, he's almost more fresh. You know what I mean? Like, he has a little fresh, and maybe he has a lot of stuff in the back pocket that he hasn't pulled out yet. We've heard a lot of times NBA coaches have, secret lineups, you know what I'm saying? Or like secret sets or secret things they want to do that they kind of keep for the playoffs, if you will. Maybe Mazzulla hasn't even tapped into his bag yet, and then we see adjustments on the fly, things that the Celtics have done or do, and you're like, wow, we have not seen that all year yet. And if they can pull that off, they'll be really successful. But also on Joe, Rob, the amount of pressure on Joe versus Kidd, oh my Lord. That's the other thing that could worry me in that coaching is just Mazzulla has all this pressure in the world from Boston, from people on the outside. He's in a big market. People kind of really crapped on last year for not making it to the NBA Finals. They fall short 2 years in a row. He has a great resume, but people will still call for his head. Jason Kidd's playing with house money. He's got free bets at BetMGM, baby, and he's just playing all night long. In terms of pressure, drastically different scales and heading into this matchup.
You brought up regarding Mazzulla something I think is real interesting. And obviously the narrative about Boston has been that no Jimmy Butler against Miami. Cleveland loses Spida. You guys, the Sirs, lose Tyrese a couple of games into that one. And Boston has not had in these entire playoffs, they have not had to win 4 games against the full strength team. They just haven't.
No.
Dallas, on the flip side, has not only had to win 4 against a first-class team, they have had to do it against 3 better teams than Boston squared up with at any point, with all due respect to your Pacers, not as good as the Timberwolves, right? So
yeah,
to me, there's this interesting scale. On one hand, Boston hasn't been tested. They haven't been pushed. They haven't been punched in the mouth by a full-strength basketball team. But on the other hand, because they've been out there boxing against teams that had one arm tied behind their back, they haven't had to show their best stuff. They really haven't had to push. So I wonder if, like you said, Mazzulla maybe has a couple of maybe tactics we haven't seen that are saved up for a high-pressure situation, and they haven't run into one yet. And on the flip side, yeah, I know Dallas had 6 days off between the last game to the first game of the NBA Finals. Boston probably not anywhere near as run down as Dallas is after going 7 in the last couple of series and being up against 2 very physical teams in Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Boston, with the exception of Kristaps Porzingis, likely is much closer to a 100% team than Dallas is. I have got 2 wagers in on this game. Dallas in 6 and Dallas in 7, because those 2 paid out at like 6-1 and 8-1 versus just an outright Dallas series win, which paid out at less than 2-1. Tell me where I'm right or where I'm wrong based on what we know about these 2 teams starting up tomorrow.
I think there's no way in hell this thing doesn't go 6 or 7 games. So that I agree with you. I think it's going to be 6 or 7 games. I do think because of kind of rust versus, what is it called? Rust for early in the morning, whatever. You know what I mean? Play.
No. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Rust versus rest.
Don't help.
Rest for, yeah.
Don't help.
Rust.
Don't help.
He's tired. He's been sleeping on the floor. Quit being so
I've been
mean.
sleeping on the floor for the past 3 nights. Help a brother out. All right, yeah. So I think because of that fact, the Celtics are going to kind of jump on. Like, I think game 1's automatically Boston. I think game 1 goes to Boston right away, right? They're going to have more energy. Boston's going to be loud. We're going to find out what we get from KP pretty quickly. Mavs are coming off, like you said, very, very tough series. They get their, butts beat in game 1. Game 2, I think, is the Dallas bounce back. And then you get to Dallas. That's where I think things can get a little wacky. Things can get a little chaotic. If Boston goes 1-1 and they go down 2-1, that's when I hit the panic button for Boston. I think I don't really know what's going to happen. That's when I think it's trouble factor there. Where I think you're kind of overlooking a little bit and why I don't trust that the Mavs can win this series is I get the factor of, Boston has been tested. Boston, has had this easy route to the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been getting tested in the big playoff spots since when they're 19 or 20 years old, before they could even have a beer at a bar. They have seen it all now, man. They've seen it all. They've played in Eastern Conference Game 7s. They've played in NBA Finals games. They have had the rush of a last-second win of Derek White tipping in the ball so they can force Game 7 into the Heat. They've had heartbreak before. They fell short multiple times. They have gone through everything you need to go through to win an NBA Finals, right? They've, the Timberwolves press conference, Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards were like, have you really been through enough to, win an NBA Finals. Like, we haven't lost enough, and then they end up losing. But you look at the Celtics, they've lost enough. They've learned enough. It's a young, talented group. That's why I think that when this thing goes 6 or 7, they can kick it into a high gear, and the Mavs are soon going to get tired. And I think that's when the Celtics can really clap on them. And to look at this too, like the Celtics have set historical numbers this year. Their offensive rating this year is best in league history. I don't see that just going away and just not working anymore. So that's where I think Boston can win this, and that's where I think Boston wins the NBA Finals.
So he's got Boston. 2-second answer. Dallas plus 6.5 in game 1, though.
No.
Come on, dude.
I really think the Garden's going to be loud. They're gonna pour it on them. I really, really do.
Garden's going to be loud until the first time that my guy D Lively throws Jason Tatum's shot about 10 rows deep. Shh. Gonna get real quiet real quick.
Yeah.
Hating ass Mario Herron, the former producer of Bet for the Cycle, which airs from noon to 4. His last ride, your last ride with us is Saturday, right?
Last ride Saturday.
Make sure you're tuned in noon to 4 to the BetQL Network and on the Odyssey app and Odyssey stations worldwide, because I'm not saying that Cody Decker is going to give Mario hell for 4 hours, but I'm not going to say he's not going to do that. He is also the executive producer officially of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear right here on this very station from 7 until 11 weeknights. I will be on with the gang tonight at 7:20. I'm assuming to talk NBA basketball. Who the hell knows with Ryan Horvat? I blame him for everything. Mario, appreciate you, big dog. Congrats on everything I've earned for you. Of course, his internet froze. Perfect timing. You know what my favorite thing about that
look
is?
at that. That's great.
That's great. I might just leave that there the rest of the show.
Yeah,
and my
why
favorite
not?
part about this, the internet freezes. Mario gets his opportunity for a big send-off as the boss shows up in the chat to peep what Mario's doing. That's fantastic work. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Good job, big dog. Well done.
Wait, who was the comment?
Andrew.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The guy who signs your paychecks.
Oh, he's literally right next door. Right to my left.
All right, brother.
All right.
I will see you tonight at 7:15.
Yep, I'll see you, brother. And then
All right,
we'll probably hit some MLB stuff too.
Whatever you want, dude. Just let me know.
All right, I'll send you.
All right, man. See you.
All right, see you. Bye, Alonzo.
See ya.
I love that guy.
That was
I really do.
amazing how that froze.
I love that kid.
That was great.
It was. I love that dude. He is genuinely a good kid. I'm super proud of him. I'll never say that to him, but super proud of him. That's not true. I literally called him today. He got the promotion to congratulate him.
Say, don't get eaten up by jealousy. I mean, it's a.
I'm not jealous. I'm upset I'm losing.
Shane said he screen grabbed it.
Will you send that to me? Because I'm going to make so many things. No, that kid is the third hardest working man in show business.
2 minutes.
Don't need to be our
Mm-hmm. I can't answer that question because I don't know about how old he is. He's probably fairly young, but he's not radio young. He does a lot of stuff. Cody can't do that as a baby face, I don't think. Maybe he comes out in front and confronts him. Thank you, Shane. I guess this is a baby face allowed to retaliate. He did that. He smacked the Rock back. Yeah, I don't know. They have to string this along right now because, I mean, who else is there to go against Cody right now? What do you want, Shane? Rob Brown Show. Hey, what would you like to talk about, Shane? Okay, all right, hang on. People are wanting to know how old Mario is.
Mario is 27, 6.
I call 40-year-olds kids, Steven. Actually, I don't call anybody kids except for my kids.
One thing we did not talk about with Mario, and we've talked about it with him in the past, I've talked about it with you guys in the past, is the concept of the narrative. I don't think Boston has defeated the narrative yet. The narrative is, and we got a texter a minute or two ago that said, Rob, the Celtics' best roster, that will never win it all. The narrative around Boston has been for a handful of years running now that Boston does not show up when the pressure is fully applied. And there's a lot of folks that have said so far, well, Rob, they're in the NBA Finals, right? Like, they've dominated en route to their NBA Finals. Is it this proof that that narrative is dead? And the answer to me is no, not really. That is why I have been hanging for so long on Boston has not really had to play anyone yet at full strength. They did not face Jimmy Buckets in the Miami series. Donovan Spider-Mitchell went down after 2 games against Cleveland. They didn't go a full 4 wins against them with their best team. And then Tyrese Halliburton went down 2 games into the Indiana Pacers series. They did not have to beat Indiana's best squad 4 times in that series to move on. So the reality here is the narrative around the Beantown Celtics is that they can't get it done against a full-strength squad when the pressure cooker is turned all the way up. And now they come up against a Dallas team that, as Mario pointed out, is playing with house money. Nobody expected the Mavs to be here. Nobody. I looked the other day, starting in the playoffs, something like 3% of bets on the NBA Finals had Dallas even in them, not winning them, even participating in them. Nobody thought that the Dallas Mavericks were going to be here, so Dallas can afford to go out there and just play reckless. Play fast, whatever Boston is trying to do. If they're trying to play fast, slow it down. Do that thing that Luka Doncic likes to do where he dribbles to the free throw line and then he just kind of stands there dribbling the ball like a child in a YMCA rec league game. Just looking. Because it works, right? Whatever Boston wants to do, Dallas can do the exact opposite of that. And there's no pressure. If Dallas loses this series, yeah, they lost the chance to bring some hardware back to the Big D. But honestly, no matter what happens for the Dallas Mavericks, this year is a success for them. Every player on that team has been successful. Jason Kidd has been successful. That organization as a whole will have been successful. That's not true of the Boston Celtics. If the Boston Celtics don't win the NBA Finals, this year is a failure. It might not be that way if Minnesota was on the other side. It might not be that way if Denver was on the other side. You could look at it and go, they ran up against a buzzsaw. But going up against the team.
You mean the teams that Dallas beat?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. If they were up in a non-narrative driven game, if they were up against a team that was expected to be here, that was Minnesota and Denver. I don't even think Oklahoma City is in that list. If they were up against Minnesota or they were up against Denver and they lost, you go, all right, that's a Minnesota team with Anthony Edwards who like really found his stride down the stretch, or that's a Denver team with 3 out of 4, should have been 4 out of 4 time winner Nikola Jokic. It's understandable they lost to the reigning champs. But up against a Dallas team that had like 3% of the total bets to even be in this series, a loss for Boston is a failure. The pressure is on Boston, not Dallas. And so when the pressure has not been on them in any playoff series so far, I genuinely think it's fair, as my guy PJ Glasser from the BetQL Network says all the time, to bet the narrative and not the numbers. And I might be betting the narrative a little bit more than the numbers on this. Let's get my guy Shane in here. Wants to talk a little NBA Finals as we are, 20 hours away from the start of that. No, it's later than that because it's like 8 o'clock tomorrow. We're like 36 hours away.
It's more like 8:30, which means it's closer to 9.
I gotta stay up so late, dude. Gotta stay up so late. Shane-O, what's up, big dog?
What's up, my guy? I fully expected to come in here and just totally hate on Mario, but that first segment that you guys did, I actually, I'm proud of you, Mario. Thank you for putting some respect on Luka Doncic's name. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is you keep stating how the Celtics have more depth than the Mavs. Well, I went through and tallied because I'm a nerd. And do you know how many games that the Mavericks had where they played 9 players at least 6 minutes?
More than Boston.
All of them but 4. Do you know how many the Celtics had where they had 9 players or more?
All right, this number is going to be slanted, Shane-O, because Boston didn't play more than 5 games in any series. But I'm going to say of the what they played, they played 4 or 5 against Miami, 4 against Cleveland, 5 against Indiana. So out of those 14 games, I'm going to say they had 4 where they did that.
Yeah, that's actually right. They had 10 games where they played guys 5 minutes or less. I'll give them credit. They had 6 games where they played 11 or more. But in multiple of those games, it was like 5 minutes or less for the end of the bench guys. So they're typically running on a rotation of 8 guys. Now you're adding in Porzingis back. Yes, I understand that, but I think that's going to knock guys like Sam Hauser and I'm totally blanking on another big man of theirs. But
Al Horford.
No, it'll eat into Horford too. And those Twin Towers, man, I think even Porzingis is going to struggle, like Mario said, against Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. So Mavs in 6, and just to put this in there for you, PJ Washington in the corner for 3. Bang! I'm out.
I love it. Thank you, Shane. Good call. Love that little Mike Breen bang there at the end. Is bang the best call of any basketball guy going right now without Dickie V in the mix? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it probably is.
I think it is. Outside of Dickie V, Gus Johnson, and Mike, are there any other like that's the guy when it comes to basketball?
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Sounds like something we need to research. All right, time to ask Rob what the X is going on. The first thing it's Xing is Toys R Us.
Ian Eagle's on his way. I think Ian Eagle will be there. Is Al Michaels still in that conversation?
No, he's 95 years old.
Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan's the guy. That's it. That's the answer. That's my final answer. Lock it up with Kevin Harlan. Toys R Us is trending because they are closing the last store today.
No, according to reports, physical stores are going to start popping up this year. We'll see.
You know what? I can actually see that happen. And I'll tell you why. Most things are operate on like a pendulum, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Presidents, politics, parties go back and forth, back and forth. I think we're kind of getting to where we really kind of swung all the way to everybody doing the primary shopping online, right? And Amazon or whatever. And I think folks have started to get back to, I want to go to the Lego store. I want to go to the comic book store. I want to go to this store and I want to put my hands on these things before I commit to buying them. I could actually see sometime in the near future kind of the pendulum swinging all the way back around to brick and mortar stores having a real comeback for a while.
I hope so. Bring back Jeffrey. The next thing that is Xing is the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The Ohio State Horse Chestnuts. Was it is that it? Horse Chestnut, right? Wasn't it a Horse Chestnut?
Like I'm going to help you.
The Horse Chestnuts are trending because this is a stab in the dark. It was announced either yesterday or the day before that for one of their games this year, they will be wearing a full gray uni, gray shirt, gray pants, gray hat, gray socks, gray boots, and everybody's going, you're going to look like depression playing football.
Okay, we'll see. Depression can still win.
But it very frequently does.
Yes, it does. The reason why they are trending or Xing is because they just landed a big-time running back commit by the name of Bo Jackson.
I saw that. I did see that, actually. Bo knows Buckeyes.
Bo Jackson is going to be playing for the Buckeyes.
Auburn's fans are in shambles right now.
They are. Got that hip fix. He's ready to go. He's a 4-star recruit from the Ohio area. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Angel Reese.
Angel Reese is trending because Angel Reese got bounced from a basketball game last night. She was already kind of up there because she had some comments earlier this week where she said people aren't only watching the WNBA for one player, they're watching because of me too. And you had a kind of like a 75-25% split. You did have a bunch of people that came to the defense of Angel Reese and said, yeah, that's true. What a rookie class. And she is a headliner on it. And then you had a bunch of other people who went, no, dude, we're watching because of Caitlin Clark. Like, we followed CC to the show, not you. But I'll tell you where Angel Reese's real heat's coming from. When Kennedy Carter bounced Caitlin Clark off the deck the other night and took the upgraded foul, video came out where Angel Reese was on the bench for Chicago, and she, like, got up and fist pumped and celebrated that. And she's taking a little heat for that. Why wouldn't, dude? They're rivals, man. Like, at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about Kennedy Carter's decision, these women are competitors. They are players at the highest level, and those two specifically are blood rivals at this point.
All right, final thing. Secret Wars is trending.
I don't know why it's trending. I saw something earlier that it looked like there may be a little flirt between Deadpool and Wolverine and Secret Wars.
It's that, and also RDJ saying he's not opposed to coming back and playing Iron Man, and that would be the place where he could come back.
See, can I tell you how much you kind of take the steam out if you have Iron Man come back? Because you got, again, like, I know it's comic books.
It's comic books.
I understand, but I still want them to be good movies, and you kind of take the weight out of the sacrifice if you bring them back, even if it is an imposter.
You only get one Marvel movie this year, and it's Deadpool and Wolverine. So,
yay! Can't wait. Can't wait. Go look up the promo for the Deadpool Wolverine popcorn bucket. It's hysterical. See you guys back here tomorrow on a Thursday. We got Fight Club, we got Rashad Beard, and who knows what other tomfoolery and shenanigans we'll get into on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah!
Yeah, the popcorn bucket was making fun of the Dune popcorn bucket. That's the reason why they did
was,
that. Yeah.
And it was also Ryan Reynolds being his degenerate best.
So are you going to buy one?
Absolutely, I would.
Okay.
I absolutely would, because it's hysterical.
They'll sell those out really quick.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they will.
I don't even know if they're real, but if they are, they will sell out.
They're real. It's Deadpool. Of course they're real.
That's fair.
But is Disney willing to put money, if they're going to put that movie out,
from what I understand,
merchandising wise, they're going to do that.
From what I understand, this is going to be a very adult movie. This is going to be a grown up.
Well, yeah, it's rated R. I mean, so it's
if they're willing to do that, and they're willing to let them drop some F bombs.
I don't know that they can step it up any further than 1 and 2, but we'll see. 1 and 2 were pretty bad as far as that goes. So,
and by bad you mean amazing.
Well, anyway, just the theme song from the second one alone, where Chris laughed so hard I couldn't hear on my right ear.
It was you talking about like the choral where they're like, "Holy bleep balls." That's my favorite thing that's ever happened.
It's like nothing but F-bomb in the entire music thing. And he's just nonstop laughing. He just threw his head back and it was weird. Like it was possession or something. I don't know, but it was really loud.
For the record, me too.
You know what? In this case, no way you equaled his volume. But if you were sitting on the left side of me when he was sitting on the right side of me.
We'd have ended your radio career?
Yeah, absolutely. I would no longer be here.
Holy bleep balls.
It was so loud.
Holy bleep balls. All right, dudes and dudettes. That's all for me. We got to go do work stuff now. Boo. Nobody likes that. Let's go watch basketball. There's no basketball tonight. That's a bummer.
Yeah, because they waited a stinking week. That's why.
Had to, man. Had to.
Whatever.
Arenas ain't free all the time. You got concerts. Oh, there was a game during the first round of the playoff series where Greenville was down in Orlando, and the playoff game was scheduled the same day that the Magic ended up having a playoff game scheduled. So the Rabbits and the Solar Bears did not start their playoff game till after 10 o'clock at night because they had to pull the basketball court up and put the ice down. It's real interesting. All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all spectacular people. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. Hope you have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. Tomorrow's show, a lot more basketball. Rashad Beard comes by at 8:40. Fight Club with the Great One at 9:20. And then whatever. Bye.
Whatever.